Welcome in, everybody. I am your host, Matt Novak. Alongside me, as always, Grant Hawker.
Always.
On the third mic, Jameson DeFore.
Yo.
And joining us again this week, our good buddy, Mike Connor. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Doing great.
Hey, you guys, we're going to get right into it. We were on pins and needles. I know, Jameson, that you were paying attention to another game. But we all know what Grant was doing.
I had this one dual screened for sure.
Yes. Now, as a 49er fan, I was flipping over to your game, watching it here and there. But I had the Niner game on my iPad, and I was going back and forth between the Seahawks versus the Colts and this Detroit Lions-Rams game that seemed like it could go either direction the entire first half. That was wild. I was texting Mike aside from you because I knew you didn't want to talk to us during your game. But genuinely, Phillip Rivers... football folklore forever. That is absolutely unbelievable. They take the L, and we were expecting that. Honestly, there wasn't any of us that were like, oh, yeah, Phillip Rivers with the Colts, this is going to happen. But, dude, a last-second drive and a heck of a day by Jason Myers, 6 for 6. That was absolutely what he had to do. The Colts' offensive line was fantastic. Their defense played out of their mind, missing 4 starters and both cornerbacks. Let's not forget, this is Sauce and Warder out of this game. Yeah. And for them to stand up, and their probably best defensive player, and Buckner was one of those 4 that wasn't there too. So 3 of their top 4 guys were out. But legitimately, for Rivers to go in there and put the pressure, unfortunately didn't kill enough clock because he left the Seahawks in it, from my perspective anyway, unfortunately. For him to go do it, you guys... One of the greatest things I've seen in my 30-plus years of watching football every Sunday. Absolutely loved every second of it. I was a 44-year-old man, a grandfather. To make that back shoulder throw to Pierce on 3rd down, are you
legit?
Kidding me?
That was a great throw. So the coverage was great, but the throw was perfect.
Oh,
like,
dude.
No.
What are you going to do? As a defender, you're like...
barely gets in there.
Yeah. It was just beautiful. That was football for all of us. That is what we want to watch every Sunday, is some crazy story and some dude doing something he shouldn't be able to do and just going full superhuman. And I understand that he didn't have the zip on the passes. I understand that he looks like a left tackle. Like, genuinely, that guy's enormous.
Dude, he's got the drunk uncle build. Like 100%.
He looked like 275 pounds of human.
Yeah.
Did you see him fall down and get back up and stumble forward to the back? I was all like, that looks like me out there. Like, I would totally like
so crazy, dude.
It took him so long to get back to his feet. It was crazy.
Yeah, if you're on socials and you didn't catch our post, and there's this photo of me screaming my head off when I watched him throw a nothing touchdown to Josh Downs, I lost my mind when I saw that.
Go up by 10, by the way. That was a double-digit score. Yeah,
Grant was sweating it. 100%.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. It was, but just look at all of our faces right now. We all got just this massive grin on our face because Phillip Rivers almost won a game in the year 2025. That's what we're talking about. And I know we'll talk maybe a little bit more about the game in a second, but his press conference afterwards was awesome.
He's so good.
He's so
all
cool.
week long. I loved listening to everything he had to say. Saying, like, it was so good. So I don't even care what's going on. I just want to play football.
Yeah, so there's so many clips, right? Him being like, "Oh, no Zoom," because his last year playing was the COVID year. When someone asked about his playing weight, he's like, I don't know. And then, but then, in the press
they had to have weighed him, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Just for the record, they weighed because he had to
pass
pass a physical.
Yeah. Oh, so he knew exactly what he weighed. He knew it to the iota. But his press conference was awesome. Him being like, I did it for my boys and even for the guys that I'm coaching to show that like I wasn't scared, which I just thought was super cool. And yeah, the game was so weird as I was watching this game. The game was exactly the way the Colts wanted it to go. It was it was their game. They played it their way. That kind of how the game declared itself. The whole first half, the Seahawks average starting yardage line was like the 12-yard line. So they just played the field position battle. Jonathan Taylor would get 3 runs a carry, and then it'd be a 3rd and 3, a 3rd and 4. And that's about all that Phillip Rivers could complete. And that's pretty much about all he did except for that back shoulder pass. And so it was exactly that. He had 121 yards and a touchdown on a lot of attempts, though. So like the average is, I think it was like 3 yards a pass or something like that, or something pretty low.
Yeah, technically, like I have it pulled up here, 4.44.
Okay. Yeah. So that's obviously not. That is exactly what you would expect. And so I think that It was fun, man. Definitely sweating it. At a couple points, I'm like, dang, like, how is it that they're out both their starting tackles and like he gets sacked once? So hats off to the interior of that Colts O-line. When they're healthy, they've been one of the better O-lines in the league. And so that was great. The game plan for the Seahawks was weird. Being down 2 corners and then deciding to still try and run the ball, and that clearly wasn't working, was weird. I don't know why they didn't just start an air raid. I think if they did that, they would have probably blown this game out of the water. But the game plan was just weird for this game. But man, Philip Rivers almost won a game in 2025.
58 and a half minutes, and he had won that game, and then
he
left too much time left.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is you can't take it away from him. You can't be like, Philip lost us the game. No, he didn't. He actually put them ahead under the 2-minute marker.
He had a game-winning drive. He had a game-winning drive. Yeah.
A nice 60-yarder, too. That thing would have been good from 63, 64, I think.
Yeah.
Hit the net from 60.
Well, and it was a career long for Groupie or whatever.
There's number 3 kicker on the year, by the way. Like the Colts, poor guys.
Yeah, no.
As soon as I saw that right down the middle, clean off the foot, I was like, oh, we just had a football miracle today.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I was like, and maybe at some point here we'll also have a little mini like kickoff conversation. I know we had this in the group chat, but obviously the Seahawks have that much time. You get the field position, you do the kicking the way that it is. I was like, okay, unfortunately it's over from here. Like I have no doubt the Seahawks are gonna get a kick where they want it.
Yeah, they got it on one play.
For that 58 minutes, it was glorious.
Yeah, and I think too, we can talk about that a little bit, the kickoff rule. Yeah, the whole new kickoff rule is not a good product. The way that teams can get, especially if it doesn't land in the landing zone, that's an extra 15-yard line. And then teams are they need 15 yards to be in field goal range, if something like that. In this scenario, Shaheed did just make a great return and put them in good field position. It wasn't necessarily because of that. And now the new layout does allow maybe for some of that, because it's more essentially like a run play now with kick return. It's essentially what a kick return is now.
Well, your average starting position in the NFL this year
is insane.
It's just over the 30-yard line.
Yeah.
And when you consider kicking it out just a couple years ago was at the 20, they're getting a free 10 yards.
That's huge.
And also, too, we know that you don't necessarily, if you were at the 20, you're not calling a ton necessarily in shotgun and trying to spread too much at that point in the field, just because somebody gets past your O-line, one small thing happens, and now you would be pressed inside your 10, possibly on a sack, or if you're on that spread, you've got to work quick to get the ball to the outside. It's easier to jump a route, forfeit a pick six, all the things you don't want to have happen. So moving it up is significant when it comes to strategy, for sure. And they obviously weren't going to put it in the end zone. They wanted the run back there for sure, but one good little plan there by special teams in Seattle, and springs him, and a dude pushes it upfield, and legit, you guys only needed really with the way Myers.
We got the play in the first play of the first snap. We got
20 yards, and you're in.
We hit a 26-yard pass.
It didn't feel like a gimme necessarily still, but I mean, in the way the way they're able to also this year compound that with the issue of the working the balls and being able to work them during the week and then bring them to the game Sunday. As long as they pass the stress test, they get to use them. We've seen more kicks being made over 50 yards this year than ever. This is the highest percentage of kicks over 50 yards going in the history of the NFL is this season, which, by the way, Brandon Aubrey, what the crud were you doing? We'll get to that later, though, because Grant's got a story to tell us. But, man, this game, the back and forth was so much fun, guys. Just so much fun watching this game throughout the afternoon. I felt like a blessed football fan. I texted you guys, man, there's 3 must-watch games going on this afternoon, including that Denver Packers game. We'll get to some injuries in a little bit. Rip to that guy's season. But it was between that, the year 2 games, I loved how that Lions-Rams game was just, bam, hitting each other in the jaw. One good pass play to the next. Explosive all day long. But this one, for me, this was what I tuned in for on Sunday. Even as a 49er fan, I put everything else aside, and legitimately on the big screen was the Seahawks-Colts. That was my priority game, knowing my 49ers would probably do something like what they did. And by the way, covered the spread with 87 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, my last thing that I want to say is we talk about records. I didn't realize this. I was looking at it this week. There's a chance that the new single-season field goal completion record gets broken this year. Jason Myers only needs to make 8 to beat the record. So that's record watch.
In 3 games?
Yeah. He has 8 more. So it's doable if they just do if they just kick field goals all week, which I definitely don't want.
Yeah, that leads me to my one question I have for you coming out of this game, Grant, is as I'm watching that game, obviously I'm rooting for the Colts here just selfishly, but we all knew that Seattle was the better team and we didn't expect it to go any other way. Watching it, I did have some concerns watching that offense. I was like, why is this offense all of a sudden not able to do this to the Colts? I know the Colts aren't like a total pushover on defense, but obviously they're missing two corners, and in that conversation, one of their best defensive players, and DeForest Buckner, their other best defensive player, arguably. And so to come out of a game where I know Sam Darnold, when you look at like the ending numbers, he had like a 61 completion percentage and 270 yards, but no touchdowns, no turnovers. Was sacked, I think, just one time in that game. How do you feel about the offense coming out of a game where you have to beat Phillip Rivers and the Colts with all field goals? And obviously, a win is a win, and it's good to know that you have a kicker come this time of year when you're going to need it. But I do think that there is something to be said about like the perception of Sam Darnold and also his performance since he threw 4 interceptions. It makes me think, is this like a little bit of we're playing conservative because we know our defense can win? Or are we being like, Sam Darnold, we're just like turning the blind eye until the inevitable like postseason collapse? Because that, again, not to be a total hater and just because it's the Seahawks, but I do think that's what's happened to Darnold in these past few. I was curious about your perspective on that.
Yeah, I mean, that Rams game has been, I think, a real blemish, obviously, on him for picks. And he has not played the same like since. Like after Blaney, I think up until that game was a top 5 MVP candidate, was playing really well and that kind of thing. I think he's playing scared because of what that was. I don't think it's necessary. And I think the game plan in this game was weird. Again, I don't know why they didn't come out there and try to just air it out, because they gave up so many drives on this game by just trying to keep running it when it clearly wasn't working. And the rigidity to stick into a game plan sometimes bothers me with, I think all of our teams do it to a certain extent, where you're like, why are they not running it when they should be? Clearly that's working, or vice versa. I'm definitely concerned. And you can look at it two ways. You can look at it, man, they didn't score a touchdown. I also can look at this as they didn't score a touchdown and still won this game. So there is a perspective thing there. I do think a guy who you don't have tape on him, that aspect I think is still really, yes, you do from years ago, but not 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. I just think that they need to be willing to let Sam Darnold sling it and live with an interception or two or whatever, because the offense moves. At least the offense moves. But I also think that some of it is the field position thing. Like they just were able to win the field position battle and the time of possession battle in this game. They like dominated the time of possession, especially in the first half. And that's been a thing the last 2 weeks specifically, is the first half being slow. Like it was 6-6 in that Falcons game, but in the second half, they scored 31 points. And yes, there is some of that, but then in that just a week before this one, in the Hawks-Falcons game, he threw 3 touchdowns in the second half. And I think that's missed because that start was so slow and ugly. So yes, I'm a little concerned, but I think they need to go back to some more of the being willing to sling it and go deep and not be too conservative, because I think that Rams game is really sitting in his head and the way that he's playing. And I think he's playing smarter since then, but he's not playing with as much confidence. If that makes sense.
I'd echo into it, just looking at some numbers, like his game against the Titans, not phenomenal. When you look at the numbers, that was a 30-24 win. But like when you see his stuff in terms of completion percentage, especially, that like sticks out to me. I had against the Titans and against the Vikings, which I understand the Vikings defense has clearly been resurgent, and if they could just move the ball sometimes, probably help.
Just wait till 9 shows up.
Even in that awful game against the Vikings, which was a 26-0 blowout with Max Brosmer.
Yeah.
Like you look at that one, and again, completion percentage stands out. He went 14 for 26 for 128. I understand they didn't really have to do a lot in that game, but still, it's barely an over 50% hit, 100%. And he did in 16 for 26 against the Titans, who are definitely a subpar defense. Were a little healthier that week than they were against the 49ers, to be fair. The safeties were decimated this week for the Titans against the Niners. I'm just comparing in that sense, having watched both of those games, actually. But yeah, like I don't see him moving the ball real good, real consistent. Against good defenses, it has been a struggle. The best win the Seahawks have this year, in my opinion, is the Texans win. That is a great win. And
they're the only team that no team has scored more than they have against that defense.
Yeah.
Like they lit up that defense.
And to be fair about it, like I would say his game there numerically was average. I think he was just over 200 yards. Was it a 2-1 game, Grant? Is that right?
That was a 1-1 game.
1-1 game. So
he didn't need
average, but he knows the offense well. He does a good job managing. I think that he is a genuine $30 million game manager. I don't think anybody's trying to. We're not having that Brock Purdy conversation anymore. That's different. We understand that. But, like, he is a $30 million game manager that knows the offense really well, leads the team. The concern I have, and Grant's going to 100% agree with this when I say it, is he does not make decisions quick enough. Because there's some second and third downs where he's holding that ball too long. And if he would have let go or tossed it away, he's not taking some of those sacks. I saw a lot of those happy feet against the Colts this week trying to.
Yeah, no, that Vikings one was where Brian Flores came out and said, we're going to blitz the heck out of this guy. Yeah. And that's what they did. And he did not play well in that game. And I think, so yes, I agree with that. I also think they're having him do exactly what they want him to do. And when I came into this season, I was like, they want him to throw it 20 to 25 times a game, throw 2 touchdowns maybe. Sometimes if the game dictates it, he doesn't throw one. Like the stat sheets in this game do not look great for this Colts one. But if you watch the film, there's a lot of good decisions he did make. And he led the drive when they needed him to go win it. He made the throws he needed to. And when you have a defense like that's insane, that's how Russell Wilson won his Super Bowl. And I'm not trying to say that, but you don't need the superstar. You need the guy who can make the right decision and make the crucial pass that can work.
Yeah. And if Sam Darnold throws for 250, 2 touchdowns and an interception,
they're probably winning.
They're happy with that. They're fine with that. They don't need that 4 touchdown game from him. They don't need that.
But one thing I will say,
they want it, but they don't need it. And I would be worried. Sam Darnold is known to fall off at the end of a season.
This is December. This is not his time.
This is December. This is not his time. January's coming. He struggles. We'll see what happens. I understand concern, but this defense is really good and young.
I think it's the second best defense in the league. I think it's second best defense in the league.
We'll see. I think you guys struggle against tight ends, but which is the Rams are salivating over this week. So
Warren, by the way, there's one he'd really like to have back because
for sure.
Rivers' second best throw, that one over the middle, that sucks, dude. You gotta catch that one. That was as well placed as you're gonna get.
I do have one more Sam Darnold stat because this is why I brought it up. It took me a second to find it, but this comes from Ben Solak at ESPN, and this is the since the Rams game thing that I think has set apart his pre-Rams performance, his now post-Rams performance. In the last 3 weeks, he is 0 for 9 throwing into tight windows, Sam Darnold. And if you go back and include the Week 12 and Week 11's Titans and Rams game, he's actually 2 for 20 for 60 yards, touchdown and 2 picks throwing into tight windows.
What's the metric on tight window?
Is it like sub 2 yards?
Less than the yard of separation, I think.
Is
what that usually is.
Whereas before that Rams game, he was actually the best tight window thrower in football. He had a 106 passer rating, and the next was Lamar Jackson at 102.9 on half as many attempts. So he was zipping them into those tight windows. And then following that 4 interceptions Rams game, you see him being a little bit more cautious. Even maybe that's a little bit of play call and said, hey, let's rein this in a little bit.
Sure.
But when he has been trying to throw them into the tight windows, he's 2 for 20, including the Rams game. So that is a little bit of a difference, especially come postseason. You're going to play these defenses, are going to scheme you. You might not be able to scheme guys as wide open as you can in the regular season. So that would be the other thing, I guess, game plan wise, that I would keep an eye out for.
Sure. And I'll just echo or say something a little bit in his defense, not echo, but Darnold is playing in weather games. And I've seen some of those metrics over the years, and I'm like, hey, you know why Josh Allen didn't throw for 300 yards after November 15th? Because there was snow on the ground every week in Buffalo.
And especially, I don't know if you guys, I've seen the weather because I'm going to the game in a couple days here. There's like flood watch in Seattle. It is
Washington's bad, dude. And I was genuinely worried that you were not going to be able to make it when I was watching some of the weather patterns.
That's why I'm leaving early to make sure I got plenty of time to get there. But I do wonder, I know we've probably belabored the point a little bit, and I've said this before, I do think that Sam Darnold has to win a playoff game or win. If he doesn't win this week, but he wins maybe that Niners game, that other big one that could set up. If they don't win this one, that Niners game is even more important for the Seahawks, right? Yep. If he wins one of those two, I think that it doesn't remove it, but I think it settles some of the conversation. If If he wins a playoff game, I think it does, because again, what I'm going to say, I understand some of the stuff of last year, especially in that Lions game, the last week of the season. That Rams one, he got sacked 9 times. No quarterback is going to play well when they get sacked 9 times. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Let's be intellectual about this. If you get sacked 9 times in a game, you're probably not winning and you're probably not playing well. There's not a quarterback that can.
Yeah.
He might be the exception.
Oh, dang you.
That might be the one. But look at Patrick Mahomes in that first Super Bowl he
for
lost.
sure. No,
like
what you say
against
is
the Bucs.
absolutely true.
Like
what you say is
I
absolutely
think
true.
we do have to add some of that context. I do think the context matters for some of that. I don't think, and I think even in that Lions game, he got sacked like 5 times. I think in the span of 2 games, he got sacked close to 15 times. So
Yeah, he did.
So
He did.
that, like, he faced more pressure than I think any quarterback in that 2-game span they faced in that entire playoff stretch, if I have my stat correct. So that's something to keep in mind. But yes, with how he's playing now, also with being relatively protected, that argument does get a little weaker.
Yeah, I was going to say, because this year he's working with a top 10 offensive line.
Yeah.
That is what
I
the
think he's
Seahawks
like
are consistently
the
sat at.
3rd or 4th least sacked quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah,
So-
and we'll jump over to our next game, but I think the next few weeks are going to be incredibly interesting to all of us for so many reasons. Playoffs are about to get clinched, possibly for several teams. The Seahawks have the opportunity to get themselves there. I think they need just a little bit of help, if I understand that, or
No,
they
they
just need a
can-
win and in.
Win or something else.
Yeah, win
Yeah.
or which a lot of teams are in that
Yeah.
scenario this week. So
The
it's
49ers
going to
are.
be really exciting. Yep, to see where everybody hits. But yeah, definitely some fair questions after that game, and we're going to get to a little bit more, I'm sure, Phillip Rivers discussion at some point. The big game of the week. When I say this, big game of the week in this regard. One team should have won a game this week for sure. No doubt. They got up by 21 points in the NFL. That's it. It's lights out.
That's
When are the
GG.
backups coming
They
in?
call that GG, folks.
At home,
Yeah,
by
good
the
game.
way.
Yeah.
Yep. Throw the GG in the chat. This one's over.
Yep.
Up by 21
Absolutely.
at home with an MVP candidate quarterback. There you go.
The Patriots, who we have been singing their praises, and we have been talking so many nice things about Drake May and all of this squad, and it's resurgent with Mike Vrabel. Everything great that they have been doing up to this point made a massive boo. They let Josh Allen have his way. The Patriots blow a 21-point lead to the Bills, who are surging towards the playoffs right now. And the knock on the Patriots has been this weak schedule, and that's absolutely true and fair. We have a few teams that are in double-digit wins already that we've been talking about that a lot in regards to. But Josh Allen comes in looking like an MVP, playing like an MVP. The Bills have a shot right now to take the division from the Patriots with 3 games left. The Bills need to win out. Pats have to lose one of the divisional games they've got left on the schedule. Mike, what are those 2?
Jets and Dolphins down there.
So they need a little help. We have definitely seen. Are they going to Miami?
I don't remember. I believe so.
Dolphins at Patriots.
Oh, no, it's at Patriots, yeah.
I was going to say, dang it.
so
All
that's-
right, never
Can we get
mind.
another one of those. What was that? What year was that when they just had the crazy laterals?
Oh, the
and-
Miami Miracle.
Miami
Yeah,
Miracle, dude.
Yeah, it was.
I
Oh,
was
who
like,
was the
Get,
running back?
Get another one of those. Is
Number 32.
You on the way out for Mike
It
McDaniel.
was.
Because Gronk was like playing safety, and he like turned the
Yeah.
corner. He got the edge on him.
Yeah, it was. Oh, dude.
I'll look it up.
I can
It's-
see the play in my head.
I can too.
But I don't think the Pats are losing to Miami at home.
No.
Another game we'll get to in a minute told us the story that we needed to hear in that regard. If the Jets just want to have fun for one weekend, I'm for it. Love seeing the rookie, by the way. I'm going to totally blank on his name now, of course. Get the start, throw a touchdown in front of mom and dad this weekend for the Jets, who
Kenyon
lost by a lot.
Drake. That's who the
Oh, it's
running back.
Drake?
Yeah,
I love
Kenyon
Drake.
Drake. I was like, come on.
Oh,
why
dude.
can't- Yeah.
Fantasy stud. Like, genuinely,
Flex
I love when that
MVP.
guy was spot starting.
Flex
Loved him.
MVP, dude.
Now, this one goes to the Bills, though, 35-31. Still one-score game. I get all that crud, but you cannot lose at home after being up by 21 with that quarterback on your team. That's the way you have been playing defensively, to give up 35 points. 35 at home. That's a lot, dude.
Yep.
And to me, the big story with this is, if we're looking quarter by quarter here, they were up 24-7 going in halftime. Coming out of halftime, the Patriots go scoreless in the third quarter, score 1 touchdown in the fourth quarter, and the Bills go 14 points third quarter, 14 points fourth quarter. And to me, like, obviously we know Vrabel is a good coach, but I think there is something to be said there about almost like a complete opposite flip of that Bills first half scoring versus the Patriots second half scoring. Those almost mirror each other like identically. And I think there is a lot to be said about a team that's just got a little bit more to it right now. They're not as green as the Patriots are. Obviously, we would all come out and say that Vrabel was the best coach in this game here, but there are just things with that Patriots team. They're not battle tested enough. And I think that really showed in the second half. They just didn't have the adjustments to keep up with what the Bills were doing. And then obviously Josh Allen puts on the Superman cape like he seems to always do. And I really hope personally that we get like a rematch of this in the postseason. I think that would be freaking awesome. But yeah, to me, that was
the first game was good.
This game.
The first game between these two was good. Again, the Patriots won that.
They both won on the road against each other. You don't really see that.
Like this. That's phenomenal. That's fantastic. I will say I have been questioning, and I have a friend that's just an incredible, he's a huge Patriots fan. And they're all of these Patriots fans online. You go watch all the shows on ESPN or whatever, and they're all like, "This is a game. This is a good loss for the Patriots. They needed this loss. They needed to see." Yeah, I was like, "No, they did not need this. This is actually the game they needed to win to show the Bills you have no chance."
There is
put it away.
There is no more.
That would have been it. Like they would have. They would have been in the. They would have been clinched the division, like all the things. And they don't have that now. And so all these people talking about, like, this is a good loss. It's going to teach them to. I was like, no, what it teaches them is that the Bills have their number. It doesn't matter if you're up by 21 points. We can come back and we can smash you.
To be fair,
at home,
win this division. We don't need the division. We'll go on the road and do it.
To be fair here, guys, the Bills do have the answer to every team. His name is Josh Allen.
Well,
that's the difference
in the postseason. But
yes, but they will not. But this may be.
Well, they won't be there.
It's not playing in the postseason. You mean?
Yeah. Oh, no, I think too. Okay. Like Mike, to your credit, to what you said, like at this point in the season, there's no moral victories. There's no. Oh, this was a good loss. At this point, no, because every team needs their wins at this point. I think the last maybe good loss you could argue is maybe the Rams losing to the Panthers, maybe overlooking their opponent a little bit in that game or something like that. It'd be like
that was fringe. That was fringe because we win that game as we don't have any concerns about this Lions Seahawks stretch here. But it's one of those ones where you walk away and like
you can,
trap game. It is what it is. If the Patriots would have lost, they did lose to the Raiders. If they would have lost to the Raiders midway through the season, maybe, you know what, we needed that loss. We were high on our own supply here. We lost to a bad team in our division. It happens.
Same. 49ers, Texans. Yeah. Got our butts kicked on the road against the number one defense in the NFL. And you can't just keep throwing Mac out there and not throwing the ball 20 yards down the field and expect to win football games. And I say all his praises, but that was a wake-up moment where like, hey, no, we need Brock back. When can we get Brock back? Because we need our $50 million quarterback.
And like, none of us are here today if the Packers beat the Broncos saying that was a good loss for the Broncos. We would be saying the exact same thing. So the fact that there's a narrative about, because I've heard the same thing too, like good loss for the Patriots. I'm like, no, like those were two teams that had good teams this week that they had to beat. One of them did. One of them didn't, and that's not a good loss all of a sudden, especially because that other team that we were thinking maybe could lose to a good team beat that good team and is now likely to clinch the AFC because you lost to this team. Well, that's not a good loss.
And do you think that too, like playing two divisional games, the Jets and the Dolphins are not chomping at the bit to play spoiler here and screw over? They hate each other.
That's all they have left.
They will absolutely use that as fuel to play the best games of their season to try and screw over their own divisional opponents. 100%.
I agree with the good losses are in the mid or earlier. When we talk about what a good loss is, it's not a division loss. It's not a conference loss.
No.
So you don't want a division loss. You don't want a conference loss. None of that's good for you at any point in time. That's never good. And the way you want to see this game go is not we have a 21-point lead and blow it at home. How is that good? That's insane to think that's good.
Also,
that's
I think
showing you're
loss.
gettable.
Yeah, and I also think you can't have a good loss until you've seen how you've responded.
Yeah.
Like again, just to pick my own team here. Like the Rams, the way that they lost that game to the Niners, which I agree, like you don't want to lose to the Niners. That's brutal. But at least we did it in like week 5. And coming out of that, is this like monster 13 personnel Rams team that completely reinvented their offense when they realized we need to find a different way to win this game that isn't like hero ball to Puka and Devontae. And then we've seen, okay, that was a quote unquote good loss, despite maybe not being the team you would actually want to have that loss to, because we saw how that changed the team. Maybe we'll look back. Maybe there's like a 1% chance where we look back, we go into the playoffs and we say them losing to the Bills made them change something magically in this team to be different. But I think it's ultimately too late in the season to even really do that, because now you're changing your entire identity basically with 3 weeks left in the season. So either way you cut it, like you can't really reverse engineer it, but you certainly can't say it now because we haven't even seen the fruit of this good loss.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a perspective thing on the back end that we talk about. I think that's totally right. You can only say that in reflection, and we won't know for a little bit. But I think right now in the immediate, you can't say that anything is a good loss. You definitely can't get up Monday morning and feel good about being up 21-0 and taking an L. Nobody should ever feel good about it in any situation. Also, too, this wasn't like from watching it go on the back and forth. This isn't the same feeling as like that the Bills-Ravens 41-40 in the first week.
No.
That's not what this game was. This was a complete momentum shift and one team just beating the crud out of the other one in the second half, and that's what happened. So I don't think they woke up and felt good. I think they woke up, felt bruised, and were looking around blinking going, what the crud just hit us? We got to figure that out now. And they're definitely fixing the leaks. Let's get into that Rams team, though, because as I said earlier, that game was wild back and forth in the first half, especially. And then all of a sudden, the Rams went, hey, Sean McVay, what should we do in the second half? And he's like, I got some ideas, you guys. First of all, let's stop letting the Lions score at will. Let's just do that. Our defense is still really good, so let's act like it. And clearly, you watch that box score in the second half, and they come out in all truthfulness, the Rams do, and just work it. They get 24. They outscore them 24-10, 17-0 in the third quarter. McVay, like any good coach, fantastic with the adjustments, Super Bowl pedigree, all those things speak for itself. But that was a heck of an adjustment in the second half as they get
Which
this.
was, by the way, really good for me to see, because if I had to pick at one thing this year, the trend that I've noticed is our third quarter scoring has typically been some of our worst. Last year it was first quarter, and then we're like, I think the highest scoring first quarter team this year, but one of the lower third quarter scoring teams. And so to come out after what that first half looked like, steal that field goal at the end, which I thought was super clutch, to do 17-0 in the third quarter, I was like, okay, that was what I needed to see against a team that, again, can just score at will. And I was starting to get a little worried there. But anyways, continue.
Yeah, no, this game featured a turnover, missed field goal, and a punt in the first half combined from the two teams. So those offenses were just flowing. But then when you go into that third quarter, man, they had the Lions get 2 3-and-outs, and the Rams get 3 possessions and score 17 points. The Lions get another 3-and-out to start the fourth quarter, completely see the momentum just be taken away from them. And then we're able to manage 10 points in that fourth quarter. But that was after pretty play-heavy drives for a team that needed to score. That was 21 plays that they had to use to get 10 points. They much would have rather obviously see that number stay in the mid-teens, if at all possible, in considering what they needed to get done. And then the Rams holding a 2-score lead with, what was that? There was about 5 minutes left in the game. It was about 5 minutes left in the game. That was pretty impressive. I just see them go, okay, we're good here, solidify, drop into quarters. Let's just manage the rest of this game in zone and let our line tee off as best they can against that offense. The Rams inching closer to the ultimate goal for a regular season team. They want that number 1 seed. They want some time off. They might need it because Devonta Adams comes up with the hammy in this game. Though these dudes are all over the internet and in front of microphones trying to tell us that a dude that just strained his hamstring is going to play on a short week.
Who's had it's been a nagging thing for a good portion of the season.
Okay.
Personally, I don't want him. I don't want him on the field. Like, I think he should absolutely take it.
I mean,
at least
I don't think that's controversial, even if you are a fan of the team. I think, like, my initial reaction, I was texting my buddy as we're watching the game. Like, I watched him come up with the hammy because he pulled up in real time. I'm like, that's the hammy. That really sucks. Now, how bad is it? And I was like, no matter what happens, because I was actually listening to some of the interviews today with Sean McVay, and he was talking about his initial thing after the game. He's like, you know what, we don't know. He's feeling good about it, but it didn't look good. And even today, like they were asked about his availability for Thursday, and he was like,
say
"We're not
questionable
sure yet." And on like obviously, I think the smart thing is don't, because even if we lose that game, it's much more valuable. We're already in the playoffs. You're much more valuable on the team. We have a team that we feel like can go win other places. So let's keep you healthy, because without that piece in the postseason, that is where my concern comes from.
What's he got? 17 or 18 touchdowns on the year now?
something insane.
I think he's 14 receiving, which is still in first.
Is it? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. And yeah, he's far and away like the most receiving. Like you guys need him in the red zone. If nothing else, that's where you need him there.
He's
like,
on 8.
for sure.
Is it 8 or 9 of his last 10 touchdowns are inside the 5-yard line?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's really close. I went over that stat a few weeks ago. It was like 8 in a row. They were inside the 5-yard line. Like he is a goal line monster.
He's either catching like a bomb from like 40 yards, or he's catching something from inside
a 2-yard pass. Yeah,
but
2-yard
if he
touchdown
catches
pass.
the 40-yarder, he's going to fall down in the red zone somewhere. So as a fantasy owner in one league, I'm like, for the love of God, just finish that one, please. but he's always sideline monstering. So like that's his game, especially now at 34 years old, correct?
Yeah, 34.
32.
I think he's 30.
32?
He'll be 33 on Christmas Eve.
There you go. 33.
there
That's what I heard this week. Is everybody everybody's been like 33-year-old.
Yeah, I knew there was a
Adams.
birthday there.
So, but yeah, no, like if the Rams are smart, you set him down. You probably sit him down for the rest of until he is absolutely ready to go, because you need him in the playoffs. You don't need him to get to the playoffs because you're there. You need him in the playoffs to play. And you have enough good tight ends, by the way, which frustrates the crap out of me that you guys have so many good ones. But you have so many good tight ends that you'll be okay.
Yeah.
You can make a game plan and you'll be okay.
We lost Puka for 2 weeks, and I think sometimes that gets lost in the mix here. Like we lost Puka for that London game where we put up 35 points or whatever it was on the Jags, running that 13 personnel with Devontae Adams as that X instead of Puka because he was out. And like, obviously I don't love that the injury happened, but to think that, okay, we can run this 13 personnel, but instead of Devontae being the single receiver, it's the guy who's like, for the last 2 weeks, gone like 167 and 181 in receiving yards and is much better in the running game. And it just has blocking as a receiver compared to Devontae right now in his career. I'm like, okay, like that sucks. You don't want to lose the X factor of your team like that, and especially in the red zone. But I'm like, we could definitely survive the rest of the regular season with Puka and the 13 personnel monster tight ends, and our, for the first time since Todd Gurley, seemingly like an actual really good running game that I feel like I can rely on, which has been super helpful in that as well. So it's tough, but like ultimately it's survival. If Puka went out again, then I would be a little bit more on the rocks about that one.
I will say, if Devonta plays, the smart play here would be 100%. Just don't run him out on the field till you guys are inside the 10. It's pointless. Just let him do
even
what
if
he
he's
does
just going to
best.
be a decoy. Like I don't know if you guys caught this, but they were shading guys over anytime they were over there in the red zone because Devontae was right there, and they're like, we're not letting this guy get one-on-one on the outside in the red zone here. So they were shading guys over, and it's like, even if you're just going to go out there and be like, I can't not do this because what's the off chance that this guy cooks whoever's out here, and here we go. But yeah.
When I was watching the Monday Night Football game, I saw the Dolphins make a massive boo-boo on the Metcalf touchdown. They were in zone on one side of the field and on man in the other.
Yeah.
And so I was doing some like typing. I'm just like, man, you don't always pick up on how those coverages get set. And even in just watching the flow of a game, I'm not necessarily looking for that. I'm looking for outcomes. I'm watching individual effort and all that, like everybody else is. I'm watching a ball carrier, right? And the perspective that we watch most of the time in most games is just from the sideline. So we're just seeing where the ball is. But anyway, in the coverage scheme, I started typing some stuff in. I'm like, how often are teams using these split zone and mans? And I was looking, and it's by far the highest percentage of that usage, because it varies from team to team if they even use it. Niners do a little bit for sure, but they're a heavy zone team. But they split in these man coverages because they want to put Lenore on your best receiver quite often, especially when they're up against the Rams or Seahawks for JSN. If you've got an elite guy, they'll do that. But apparently there's a statistic out there that it's believed that about 35% of pass coverage plays are split right now in the NFL. and it's hard to tell exactly how accurate that is, but it's believed around 35%. And I was like, man, if there is one team I'm using this against all the time, it's the red zone against the Rams. Like just 100%, I'm ISOing one guy. And like we're taking our best on your best, and we'll figure it out even with Puka. At least there's some ways you can combat that. But Devonta is just freaking impossible right now. He's been on another level. So we'll see if that hammy gets healthy, what he can do. Speaking of health, we're going to talk about the injuries first, and then we're going to do the other thing. So first, Mahomes going down with the ACL sucks. Micah Parsons going down with the same sucks. Looks like Parsons is actually more involved and worse than Mahomes is. Mahomes is just the ACL.
That's good. I didn't see that.
Yeah, Parsons has got a little bit extra. They're expecting Mahomes to be ready around week 1 next year. He's going to be more on that 9-month recovery timeline. It looks, and he's Mahomes. Like, he's built different. He really is. Plus, it's not a start and stop position like a wide receiver or a corner trying to come back from that. So it's a little more less damage. I watched that play and knew, like before that, I'm going to forget the defensive lineman that jumped there from the Chargers. I think it was 98, if I remember that. But he jumps, clips Mahomes' leg. Before that happened, I saw him go for the dive, and I was like, oh, he's dead. Like, that's it. And I legit didn't even have to wait to see the whole replay. I knew exactly what had happened. Like, it was really frustrating. As a football fan, we've seen that happen way too many times. And I get they're always going for the end of the effort on those plays, or the end of the play effort, sorry. But, dude, that did not need to happen because that was inconsequential to football, and you hate to see that. Also, Parsons was inconsequential to football. Literally no contact. And you know it when you see it now as a football fan. We've seen this way too many times. His ACL goes on a non-contact, and usually it's worse when it's non-contact. That means you had more take place there. Few exceptions to that, of course, remembering a certain Browns running back and obviously Zach Ertz from this season. But, yeah, that was too bad, guys. And both those teams taking losses. The Chiefs, like I said, lost 13-16 to the Chargers. Chargers getting that second playoff spot right now, or in line for it there out of the AFC West. Importantly for us, however, and again, I want to set this aside from the Mahomes injury. The Chiefs are not going to be in the playoffs, and this fan and these other fans are so happy about it.
You're probably more happy because your team didn't lose twice to them in the Super Bowl in the last 5 years.
And believe me when I say it's not the Chiefs themselves, although I am going to be glad that we don't have to hear about Taylor Swift in January. I'm really excited about that. Sure. It is a fan base that got good for a minute, and I understand very good for a minute, and has just been relentless.
It's like the Golden State Warriors.
Preach.
Yeah. No, it's 100%. No, we talked about this, like the fact that we are going to see. I mean, I'm pretty confident in saying it that we're not going to see the Chiefs, and we're probably not seeing the Eagles. I feel confident about saying that based on how they're going. That we're going to see a new team. Now, granted, I hope it's not your team or your team, but
it's fine. Feelings mutual.
Yeah,
and for whatever it's worth, I hope it's not your team either. So
yeah, and that should be expected. Yeah. But no, the fresh meat thing, 100%. But you guys have seen like how eerily similar this injury is to Tom Brady's. All the storylines leading up to this. Yeah, both quarterbacks suffered a torn ACL in their 9th season. At the time of their injuries, both Mahomes and Brady had won exactly 3 Super Bowls, and both injuries occurred the season immediately following a Super Bowl loss in their 8th season. And then in both instances, their team missed the playoffs. So that was just weird. I'm sure, that was going around all over the place about that. Now, granted, Brady's was in week 1. Mahomes is in like week, what was that, 15 we just had? But yeah, dude, it does suck. You never want to see a player injured. And again, like you said, nothing to do with the injury, but the Chiefs not in the playoffs. It's good to hear.
Oh, dude, it's so good. You need to mention this. Speaking of the injury, you guys are not going to believe this when I tell you. I literally think that you're going to be like, this is a made up, this is a lie. Matt, you're just, there are some numbers that should not be true, and this should not be true. ACLs torn per season in the NFL. 2013, 63. Next highest since 2013 was 2021, the bad one, 57. The next highest after that, I had these all in order. 2018 with 53, 2017 had 52, and it continues going down from there. This year, 30. We're at 30. That's genuinely not bad.
And a lot of that is the new kickoff rules.
Yep.
Yes.
So a lot of those ACLs are being torn on kickoffs for sideline
Guys
players,
we don't
right?
know. Yeah.
Guys you don't know and things like that. The kickoff rules, as much as I don't like them, they have cut down on a lot of those kind of injuries.
The blindside hits too. Yep.
Yeah, concussions are also down, I believe, and things like that, like across the board, which is great.
Yep.
And a lot of that is kickoff rules. And that's why the NFL's, we need to change the kickoff. We need to change the kickoff. I get that. They wanted all these injuries to come down. But I understand that stat, but man, a lot of these major players
That's
that you're hearing about.
That's exactly what I was saying. It feels
so different.
It feels so much more Mahomes, Micah Parsons, Bosa, like just those three right there. And I know there's a handful of others that I'm just blanking on.
Ertz. Yeah.
Sure.
Ertz, Dobbins, I think was ACL.
Tyreek Hill.
Dude, I forgot about Tyreek Hill. That's just an
So
insane amount of superstars
and even
great players.
Malik Neighbors.
Oh,
Cam Scott
yeah,
was obviously an ankle, like some different kinds of injuries there. But yeah, like the injuries that we've had this year are like completely neutering teams or are hitting like the biggest stars in the league.
A lot of defenders too, dude. Cannot say that enough. And I know.
Daniel Jones, Achilles. Yeah.
Big
Trey Henderson.
But you guys are totally right on it. So when I looked back at the names on some of these lists, I'm being really real. I know like half of them. I went season to season, and you can go find the NFLPA medical report on major injuries and whatnot and see what guys ended a season with. And I didn't know half of them. A lot of linemen, actually. Saw several linemen. That was interesting. Some ones that we obviously know really well, and if you tracked year to year and thought about your own teams, you'd remember back on. But no, it is interesting to see less. It is a lot, like Mike is correct about the kickoff portion. Also, concussions down overall. And we're all super grateful for that. We don't need anybody's career getting ended unnecessarily from those impact hits. By the way, Van Jefferson nearly died in that 49ers-Titans game. Goes up, catches a great ball, 41 yards, pins it to his chest, head goes back. Oh, dude, I hate that. And Van's had a lot of injuries in his young career, going back to his time with the Rams. But gosh, that just snapped into my head real quick. But yeah, it was interesting to read through and go, hey, we have had a lot to say about this. And it is good to see that this year, whatever measures have been taken, that we're losing less guys overall. But yeah, as a 49er fan, it sure doesn't feel like it. The Cardinals would argue against that 100%.
James Conner. Yep. That one.
Connor Benson. Who am I forgetting?
Marvin Harrison. It's not ACL, but it's another big injury. He's been out.
Yeah, actually, he's supposed to play again. I just was reading on that because I got him stashed away on IR on one of my teams. But yeah, glad to see it. But man, big question marks left for the Packers right now. How do you overcome the loss of one of the best pass rushers in the game and of his generation? Micah Parsons was a game changer and a revelation for this team. And him going out in the third quarter opens the door for the Broncos. And they were able to finally just move the ball down efficiently for the rest of that game. I'm not saying that they hadn't at all in the game, but it got a lot easier when the Packers had to scramble and replace, I would still say, their best overall player very quickly in the second half of that game. Christian Watson also goes out of that game for the Packers. That doesn't look bad, though.
All the scans were negative at the hospital. Yep, he went back with the team.
He
might not play this week, but probably next week. Yeah.
So he's unquestionable right now. Like Mike just said, likely to maybe one game and then come back. But yeah, the Packers just didn't have the deep ball threat after he goes out. Watson has been clearly that for them. And it was really interesting to see Bo Nix had great command in the first half. He really did.
Best game he's played as a pro, by the way.
Absolutely.
After we had a whole Bo, especially me, had a whole Bo Nix thing last week.
I
was pretty impressed.
Against a quality opponent and a game in December that means something when you're trying to clinch that one seed. Yeah, absolutely. Best game of his career for sure. Hats off.
As doubters, we needed to see it. And we've been saying this. Can he do it here? Can he do it when it matters? When it really matters? Yeah, you can be garbage. and we'd seen him beat a lot of garbage, barely, consistently. And he's got a ton of help from an elite defense, top 5 defense in the league, who's got 2 blue chip players at 2 different levels there. Probably the best shutdown corner in the NFL right now in Surtain. And Nito's
basically flipped the game, in my opinion.
Dude, that was
At
such.
that point, Micah Parsons is out.
Dude,
Christian Watson gets injured.
Watson went down on that play. Yeah.
On that play. And the Packers were up by, I think, 2. I think it was like 23-21 at the time. And obviously that just completely flips the game. They still had a chance at the end. I don't know if you guys saw the end of that game where they try to run it up the middle for some reason on 4th and 1. And they
didn't love that
and
play
it's
call.
Like, okay, Packers are here down 8. Like you can go down, tie this game with a 2-point conversion. Obviously at that point though, you don't have like your blue chipper on offense to have that deep ball too. And I don't want to back out of my hesitant praise for Bo Nix this week because he was legitimately great, but I do think there's a big difference when you lose a guy like Micah Parsons early in the second half of that game, and then at that point you're just kind of okay.
Especially
got a lot easier. Like, he did what he was supposed to do, but
Warner goes out against the Bucks for the 49ers. That's our heart and soul. Who are you without Warner? You lose Bosa. The Niners have figured out how to make do because Bosa's missed too many games. But you lose Warner, who had missed all of what, Mike? 2 games? 1?
2 games.
His entire career. They don't know who they are when he's not on the field. The Packers were just figuring out who they were with Parsons on the field, and they were super comfortable and happy about it. And like you pointed out, in the lead. Yeah, dude, it makes a huge difference.
Well, and especially
2 of your 5 best players in a 10-minute span in that game.
Yep.
Yeah, I think too. Like you just think about how that would go if the Packers held onto that lead up by 2. It's 3rd down and a clear passing situation for the Broncos. That is the Micah Parsons moment to show up, get that sack, tackle TFL, whatever.
Fourth quarter, that's what he does. Yeah,
like 100%. That would be the time where he would show up and maybe stamp that game as over and a win for the Packers for sure. And you just don't get that, and it totally changes the trick of the game. Again, no slight.
It
no,
does.
Yeah.
Sometimes the difference between a great team and a really good team is simply just the injury report. 100%. And to me, when I watch this game, that's what it is. It's the injury report. You lose a stud on each side of the ball, and look what the Broncos have lost this year. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And
all
again,
their blue chips are blue chips still. They're all whole.
And again, that's not to there are teams who can survive the injury bug and go win and go on a deep playoff run, and that's just how it is. But you also can't just assume that's always going to be the case, that a team avoids that the entire season. You could lose first round of the playoffs because Bo Nix goes down. Like, you avoided it all year, but when it came down to it.
Yeah, we saw the Chiefs go and win a Super Bowl after losing multiple players. Coaching and an elite quarterback will do some stuff for you in the NFL. It can absolutely happen, but more often than not, healthy team has the upper hand, and if they finish well, like genuinely, that's what that game was. Really good game, 1-score finish. Did not like the call either from LaFleur. Hey, let's go run the ball up the middle, like you pointed out, Jameson, right at where they are literally the best team in the league.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's like running up the middle last year against the Eagles. Nobody was doing that. That's not a good time.
It's the most easy play. You do a play action, move the pocket. That's what you do.
Which is how Bo Nix was killing them all day, by the way.
Yeah,
like straight out of the pocket where he's usually a little bit more suspect. Like, he's got the hot hand. In the same way where, like, when we lost the game to your Niners in overtime, it's like McVay comes out and probably should have put the ball in Stafford's hands there, ran the ball up the gut, didn't get it, and here we are. And again, you come out with the win, so you feel a little bit differently, but those are the things that are going to matter when it comes time. And with that run game being a little here and there, I don't love that call. But
no, I didn't love that call. There wasn't a ton this week that we didn't love from coaches. There wasn't a ton of insanity.
There wasn't the Stefanski taking Shador out on the 2-point conversion.
Nope. There was just
Shador looking bad.
Shador looking bad.
Yeah.
He's not very good. I'll continue to say that out loud. I don't care. You get mad at me all you want. Oh, by the way, while we're there, guys, we were lighting up the chat because something almost happened this weekend. It was very close. Myles Garrett is sitting right there. Are we at 1 or 1.5? I forgot.
He had 1.5 this week.
1.5.
1.5,
yeah.
So we need 1.5 to get it. I want to point this out. He currently, I believe it's 48 or 49 combined tackles this year. Okay. We all understand edge setters are not high tackle guys. 48 or 49. He currently has 32 tackles for loss.
That's insane.
Do the math, everybody.
And dude, your point that you made last week, like there was, especially on YouTube, people got coming at that a little bit. First of all, you said might. First of all,
oh yeah, might
like
be. Sure.
He might be one of the when it's all said and done. And the other thing is, we're watching like if he's not
gonna set the record,
like
he's
gonna
be the all-time guy.
We're gonna see the
16 versus the Bills and Josh.
Yeah, in 16 games he's gonna do it. Like it's gonna happen
again. Like he will put together the best pass rushing season ever. If you set that record, it's the best pass rushing season ever. Just like if you set the receiving yards record, or you set the rushing, or you set most pass touchdowns, like it becomes the best season. We watch these things. The record matters. If he gets the record, like
all the insane things I know I've said out loud
that we've all said.
Microphone in front of me. This wasn't even close.
Yeah,
like legitimately, he's a Mount Rushmore candidate for
and again.
For a sack artist,
you're not even saying right now. You're saying when it's all said and done and the career's over.
The trend is we have obviously salient takes on the show, and people on the internet think that Bo Nix is the MVP or that Myles Garrett is apparently not.
He's on
Mount Rushmore when it's all said and done, like in the conversation, kind of defensive player. Which I think
and that the Bears are good at football,
especially if he does this.
Yeah,
it's absolutely hilarious. I didn't really feel the need to defend myself, but I did want to poke some holes in those comments and go, "Hey, man, I love J.J. Watt too. I love him. Like,
dude,
genuinely one of my favorite guys.
4-year stretch is one of the most insane 4-year stretches of a player ever.
He carried that Steelers team to 11 or 12 wins that year.
But we're in the middle. We're in the middle of Myles Garrett's 4-year stretch. Yeah. We're in the middle of greatness. We're watching it in front of us. This is, don't get me wrong, it's not a moment. It's genuinely a season in which we will never forget until somebody else breaks it. But he's about to be the standard bearer in sacks per season, which is a crazy stat that literally so many guys, they look at it and go, I think I could, and have been unable to get there. And we're talking elite dudes. J.J. Watt didn't go over this hill, so don't tell me that J.J.'s better than him.
And the thing is too, he's gonna crack the top 20 all time with this next sack. He's gonna crack it if he gets one sack. He ties Dwight Freeney at 20.
Yeah,
and he's not 30 yet. Now, granted, he turns 30 in next week or something, but still,
he's pre-30 years old. He's gonna be in the top 20. And most of the sack guys that get real good and start to specialize where they're not playing, we understand part of the reason that this doesn't hit as early in a career for a lot of these guys. Like they start to get sack numbers because they get specialized. Strahan played 2 downs, not 3 most of the time. The last 2 seasons of his career, he played 2 downs. He was coming out in a lot of scenarios, though he would definitely argue that point vigorously if he were here to defend himself.
Sure.
But he did take some time off, whether he likes to admit it or not. He was only playing something like high 70% of snaps his last 2 seasons. So that's the thing. But Myles Garrett right now is in the middle of when you get it. He is playing all of his snaps. He is about to hit that 30-year thing, and then he's going to become a sack artist in his 30s where that becomes his specialty, and he gets out there and gets those 15 and 16 sack seasons consistently. That number is only going up. Anybody can touch the all-time number. In my lifetime, it's this guy.
Yeah, he's already in that. It's 16, 16, 14, 14, 21 and a half.
Yep.
That's the last 5 seasons.
So you could totally see it happen in terms of him getting up into by the way, I'll just pause on this so we can clip this. If Myles Garrett is the all-time single season sack leader, he's automatically on the Mount Rushmore of sack artists all time. Like he is. Period. It's not a discussion. Having that record is one of the hardest records to own in all of professional sports, and we are witnessing greatness on a horrible team in Cleveland. But
that's why Megatron is up there. I mean, he only played 8 seasons, but he has the season.
Yep.
That's why he's a Hall of Famer. That's why he's a Hall of Famer.
I love getting into these conversations. It's super fun. Mount Rushmore is a real thing. I really did start thinking about my Mount Rushmore of sack artists. I like to say it that way rather than defensive end, outside linebacker. But it really started getting me going in my brain. Who is the best guy I've ever? Reggie White's still the best guy I've ever seen. Like most dominant by far. Dear Lord, like the best there is. Broke double teams every play.
I almost wouldn't even include like Aaron Donald in a sack artist thing. I think he's a better defender all time than like Myles Garrett, but they just play
different. You don't get the volume
positions.
Aaron Donald had a couple years where he got it like a year. He got like 20 sacks, didn't he? Yeah. But which is insane for a defensive tackle, by the way.
It is.
Like to be knocking
from the center guard
teamed on
knocking on the door of the all-time record as a defensive tackle is insane. But yeah, I would agree. He's more
not
the
to
like
wax
defensive
poetic
player.
about the GOAT Ram who's now retired. But yeah, like
it's
sack
different.
Artist
who should definitely
is he coming back?
Who should definitely unretire and come for the playoffs. He should.
Bro, why is it? That's not out of the world of possibility anymore. We saw 44-year-old Philip Rivers take a football snap and throw a touchdown pass.
And I don't know if you've seen Aaron Donald, but he's probably more jacked than when he was in the league because now he just trains weights.
Yep. Yeah. He didn't have to do anything else. Also,
condition?
I saw a very uncomfortable interview, speaking of NFL greats, with Patrick Willis this last week, where he did not say, I would not come back if the 49ers called. Like, he's in great shape. Phenomenal. I love watching those interviews and those guys' faces go, if Philip could do it.
How old is Patrick Willis now? I'm pulling it up.
I'm going to guess
40. He's 40.
Right at, he's just a little bit younger.
He's getting routed up today. It's just,
you're running.
You can't come back and actually do. But
hey, Pooh, can be in the middle.
You can be in shape, but not be in football shape. Like you can be jacked and you can be
That's totally fair. But no, it's funny to watch all these guys get lit up and think they can go do it. But I do want to have that conversation about some of our Mount Rushmores another time. I think that would be super fun.
Off season.
We love the off-season dialogue in that regard, but I think that one would be a really fun one. And this situation should heavily contribute to the sack artist combo. It absolutely should. 100%. Dude, I don't know what happened, guys. We're gonna hit some games real quick. The Buccaneers used to be good at football. Their defense sucks. Like it sucks so bad. And it's clearly affecting their ability to have sustained offensive output. Mike Evans looked more pissed than I have ever seen Evans in his career this week.
You guys see him? Did you guys see him? Did you see him screaming in the hall like 3rd and 28? Like
3rd and 28.
To Kirk Cousins, by the way, like that's the context that really matters.
Yeah.
Yep. To Kirk Cousins, 3rd and 28 though to win the game. That's the game. They give this up, and it was just ugly. Horrible coverage on that play. I think Mike Evans himself would have played some great safety on that play. I'm just throwing that out there. You need to get it done.
Me and Mike Evans were like one and the same there because obviously I'm rooting for every Falcons loss possible. I'm like,
yes,
okay, thanks. Like they got it interesting, but now it's Kirk Cousins 3rd and 28. You can pack this one up, boys. I'm like, what, you're telling me the Falcons are going to win this game when we could have got an even juicier pick out of this? So I was right there with Mike Evans.
Yeah, I think in my head, I'm going to agree with that because I thought that if you would have thrown Max Brosmer out there, he would have had just as good a chance as Kirk Cousins does right now in his career to get that done. That was silly what took place. And he was getting 29-28 over the Bucs, and that's just stupid football. Hot seat, 100%.
How does the Tampa Bay just not line up like 10 guys on the freaking right on the first down? Like, how do you just not line up like your entire team?
Mike, there were 3 guys past There were 3 guys past the first down marker when that throw was made.
Cousins isn't throwing 50 yards down the field anymore. Like, he's just not making that throw anymore. Like, why?
But we didn't even talk
so
about
bad.
The part with this game, though. The most insane part isn't that the Falcons won. It was the Kyle Pitts legacy game. Holy cow.
He's playing for a contract.
And I think in this one game, he earned it. Like 167 yards, 3 touchdowns, 40 fantasy points.
About him this week.
Holy cow.
The percentage stat's hilarious. For all of you Pitts owners and people who have come at me over the years about my do not draft this guy, and I've said this over and over again.
It's justified.
8%. 8% of his fantasy points ever as a player were in this game.
Hey, I picked him up when I heard Kirk Cousins was going to be a QB because Kirk Cousins loves some tight end. So
if you started him, you won. Your
I was on bye. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, he scored me like 45 points. It's so nuts.
Yeah,
Mike,
which by the way,
we're
he was
not gonna
drafted
clip
in
what you just said.
2021. So 8% of his fantasy points came in one game, and he was drafted in 2021 in the first round, 4th overall.
Yeah, for sure. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Dude,
But
like,
if you started him, like, you're a madman. If you've been one of those like Kyle Pitts believers, like, you feel so justified. And
It won some fantasy games this week for sure.
100% it did.
I did. We had guys starting him. I will say this though, Grant.
I started him in one of my leagues.
Yeah.
If you started him this week, it's because you saw what I saw. I was this close. Okay, I have George Kittle on 3 out of my 4 teams that are in play right now. My other one's Bowers. So
Yeah,
I'm probably not subbing him out, but I was this close because go look at the points that have been put up on Tampa's defense by tight ends in weeks prior.
Oh,
the last
terrible.
6 weeks were horrendous. They are by far the number 1 point surrendering defense to tight end position in all of fantasy football.
Todd Bowles has the gall to blame the players.
Oh, yeah. Where's our effort? I don't know. Your offense did a lot of that effort stuff. Above average in terms of point output.
You have a quarterback who's basically only known for his effort. So I don't really think I can hear anything about effort.
Playing through injury
Also,
yet
why-
again.
On a 3rd and 28, like I said, there's 3 guys. I'm going to point all this out on this play. There's 3 guys that are 30-plus yards down the field from the line of scrimmage. That does not make any sense when they just need the first down, okay?
Yep.
You drop single high here on that deep of a ball. You have a guy playing center field, and you pressure for the first down marker, okay? That's what you do.
You got 4 guys on that first down mark. 4 guys across the field, and then you man
Totally
up
agree.
zone underneath
Your
2 guys.
quarters
and the rest-
ends right there. Your
Yeah,
quarters
that's
ends
it.
right there. 4 guys from the
3rd
secondary.
and
Right
28
there.
is a Hail Mary to Kirk Cousins at this point. So play it that way.
Yeah. for
Legit.
sure.
Like, and then the other issue that I have is you got 3 guys 30-plus yards down the field. You got 5 guys pressuring Kirk Cousins. 5. So you got 8 dudes on either the wrong side of the line of scrimmage or trying to be on the wrong side of the line of scrimmage, and 3 of them spread out over here. So that means that you had 3 guys in your zone inside a 28-yard window. Explain to me how that works in that setup at all. Like, I know that Bowles loves his exotics. He loves the blitz from anywhere at any time. He's insane. He does it more than anybody in the league. But what the crud are 3 guys doing in a 28-yard window when all they need is the 28 yards?
Yep.
It makes 0 sense. Worst coaching decision of the weekend. I said there wasn't a lot of this. There wasn't. This was the exception. Holy crud, was that a bad call? Disagreed with LaFleur going it up the middle against the Broncos, and I hated this. Bowles literally deserves to be on the hot seat for that call because he calls the defense in Tampa Bay. That one's on him. And the worst part about Tampa for the last 6 weeks has been their defense. They got all 3 of their wide receivers back this week that have been battling injuries. They go put up 4 touchdowns against the Falcons, who suck on ice, and they can't get that W. Horrible game for them. Absolutely horrible. He better answer for that one.
Kirk Cousins just got another $10 million contract. That's all I'm saying. Somebody's going to pay him $10 million.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to go somewhere and play some ball.
Yep, he'll get his goodbye money from them after the season and still go get it.
And again, I said this in our text where they started the season 5-2. In the last 8 games, they're 1-7. Absolute falling apart, keeping the Panthers in because the Panthers didn't capitalize on this past Thursday night game. This Bucks Panthers game is must-watch TV because
There's 2. They play twice in the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
This is insane for the
their
NFC
whole
South.
season's on the line. Here with the Panthers, and who have been, I mean, we thought probably more inconsistent. If you just watch the Panthers, it's this. If you watch the Bucks, it was this.
Dude, we're saying Bucks. Maybe that they look like the best team in the league the first 7 weeks of the season.
They beat the Niners and the Seahawks,
which was
they beat the Niners, beat the Seahawks, and put up a lot of points doing it. And so
they've got 3 wins against double-digit teams on their record this year. They just have completely collapsed the last 2 months.
That
miserable football.
Sucks for Baker. We're all Baker fans, especially what he's gone through
We all love Baker. We all like Mike Evans. We absolutely believe in his right to scream at his own defense this last week.
Absolutely.
And 10 years of getting it done and a Super Bowl ring on his hand, he can yell at that team all he wants to. Wears that C on his chest as he should, and I hope he chewed him out real good when they made it in the locker room. I want to talk about some good coaching. Speaking of the Panthers, who are still alive, they lost to the Saints this week, and guys, Kellen Moore is in the middle of a roster overhaul. Like, he absolutely is. Hard to hate what he's doing, though. Like, he has completely benched Kamara. He's playing his young guys. They've shipped out receivers. They have Shaheed's playing for the Seahawks, as we're aware. Like, there is a complete reconstruction going on here. Kellen Moore at the helm is starting to look pretty positive. I like what I'm seeing down there, and genuinely, for them to win a 20-17 game, I have completely trusted Shug with this season, and he seems to be putting some good games together. Dude, are you guys believing in the Saints next year in 2026? Are we believing in them?
So I had the NFC South in my preview, and I said that I did not believe the Saints were going to win more than maybe one game. They were only favored in one game this season, this entire season, to win. I think it's because they played the Titans. I think that was the only game they've been favored in to start the season. I criticize this move because they waited for every other head coach candidate to pass by them and wait. I think because they were waiting on Mike McCarthy, and I said that's weird if you're in the position to be waiting for Mike McCarthy, who's like Mr. Mid head coach, Mr. Mid himself. I have no problem on this show admitting when I'm wrong. I'll eat my words. Like, for them to be 15 weeks through the season and to have won 4 games, that is a massive win for this team. I think that's a massive win for them to be in the position they are, because in the first year of a head coach, the most important thing is to figure out if you have got the right guy, or at least that there is a path to an upward trajectory. And I will at least say that there is at least a path to an upward trajectory with Kellen Moore. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll eat my words on that. They've won 4 games. They've got they've got the Jets and the Titans the next 2 weeks, and the Falcons. They could win all of those games with the way that they're playing.
They really could.
And they could be 7-10, and that would be insane.
No, I appreciate you eating your words. I was really up in the air. I did not think that Shug was going to be able to do it after college. I watched him. He's a former Duck. I'd seen him around. Didn't look like he was going to be a guy. And Kellen Moore just is what he is, man. He's a developer of both quarterbacks and offenses. And his reputation has stuck as he's moved into this role as head coach. And what's going to be really interesting is how they shape the roster post this. And I know we'll have plenty of time to get into that later. But that, like I said, it's a roster overhaul. What pieces do they need to bring in? Clearly some defensive ones, but even that has seemed to solidify throughout the year, less and less in terms of points per game surrendered. They're doing a great job managing field position. All that stuff is undeniable. So it'd be really interesting to see what they do come offseason and draft.
I like the Saints in 2027.
I was going to say, I think they're a year away from being a year away.
Next year is $90 million in dead cap space.
Yeah.
Still. 30 million of that is actually going to go away because Carr retired. So they'll get back like 60% of his cap hit from last year for next year.
And an expected cap raise of around 20 million again.
Yeah. So they'll have a little money to play
really.
with. Yeah, they'll have a little money to play with, but they still have one of the top dead cap spaces in the league, even with all that. So they're going to be another year away from being able to actually spend the money. But if they have another good draft, if they're picking up the guys that they need to, and this coaching staff continues to build like they have, man, you're 2 years, you're like, wow, the Saints could be something in 2 years. And if this is the quarterback, great. If not, they have room to go find him. They're still low enough on the draft board.
Yeah, that was my
that they might be able to go find a quarterback at some point here. So you're looking at it, you're like, okay, so Kellen Moore seems to be an offensive-minded, getting his players to play for him, seems to be on the right path. This could be
Arch
maybe
Manning
the best
drafted
that
year for
because he's staying
because he's coming back. He's coming back.
Yeah.
So have him go play in
Texas.
New Orleans. Kellen Moore gets to handpick his quarterback.
Looks like the Oregon QB is going to be staying in as well for another year. So that next draft class is going to have some pretty decent QB options. And so let's look to the next year I think New Orleans Saints is definitely on an upward arc. And man, Kellen Moore, I think, was the right guy. And I think the Eagles are missing him amazingly.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Crazy
yeah, they
amount,
are. I
like
don't want
this
to hear
year.
one thing.
Like, you're looking at that, and you're like, oh, this is what Kellen Moore does. This is what the Eagles are doing. So
I don't want to hear one
maybe Kellen
thing,
Moore's a guy.
dude.
Maybe Kellen Moore's a guy.
Yeah, that freaking Eagles game this weekend against the insanely terrible Raiders. I literally heard look at Jalen Hurts' get game, and I'm like, bro,
it's
the
the
Raiders are
Raiders.
everyone's get right game.
Get right.
I didn't even give that 1 second of viewing time, even when it popped up on Red Zone. I would just look away. I'm like, who cares?
No,
They were still playing their team. They still have their starters in after halftime, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
No,
I feel better about themselves.
I watch everything. Like I've said this many times this year, but I watch everything on Peacock, and I watch the 15-minute recaps. That was one where I was literally like, I'm just gonna go wash the dishes for a minute. I do not care.
I would rather wash the dishes than watch the Eagles blank the Raiders with whoever they were running at quarterback.
Pickett played the whole time.
Oh yeah, they played Kenny Pickett at quarterback. Yeah. Congratulations.
It was terrible. Hey, we got one more quick one to do before Grant and I lay into some fantasy football and we talk about the playoff opportunities or implications coming this weekend. Steelers on Monday Night Football. Speaking of games that were really boring to watch, 3-0 at halftime, and then 28-15 is the final as the Steelers take down the Dolphins. Dolphins have lost 14 straight games when the temperature is 40 or below at kickoff. That was after they tortured themselves by going and holding a practice out in the snow to try and get ready for this game. Tua's done for the year, most likely, guys. They're going to shut him down. And I think that they're doing that in the hopes that he is in some way, shape, or form tradable because Mike McDaniel is done. He is not going to be here. That was a horrible. That might be the worst, and we had two really bad second halves this week. I'm going to, again, put up the Patriots second half there against the Bills. And then this one, that might have been the worst half of football that I have seen a team put in, and they scored points. That was so bad by the Dolphins, especially in the third quarter. Just couldn't tackle. Their secondary comes up, the gain run up on the right side, and you got a safety comes in, lays a shoulder into a thigh of a running back, like that's going to move him, and dude just takes off. They had no answer for the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers has his best game of the season.
He looked good. And you're like, oh, that means the Dolphins are bad. Aaron Rodgers is looking good.
It does mean the Dolphins are bad. Yeah, man, it was ugly. And then the Dolphins just making undisciplined errors when this game got to be 2 scores. There was it was a third down stop that Brooks, the safety, comes up and makes, I believe it was on Freiermuth, and Dolphins desperately needed this drive to end, and it did. It was going to. They were going to have to punt the ball, and the idiot goes in and starts jawing, standing over Freiermuth, yelling at people, gets it called. First down, and we're done. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. The undisciplined nature of it. Rodgers had a beautiful classic Rodgers moment, by the way, where he quick snapped the ball in this game. Got 12 men on the field.
Yep.
Gosh dang it. He's better than everybody at that. But
even the refs didn't even notice. Like, they had to go back and
they call it down.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, no, Rodgers is right. He did that on purpose. You got to give him that.
But the last hit on this, and I want to be really clear, very clear. I've said all year long the exact same thing. You cannot buy a team and get wins. It does not work. Going out in free agency, just adding all this stuff does not work. The Steelers are 100% gettable. If you're a Steelers fan and you're excited about what you saw last night, that was pretty average football from an NFL team beating down on a really bad NFL team. And don't get me wrong, Steelers front seven is really good, especially when TJ's playing. Hope he's all better next week. Football's better when he's playing. But the Steelers still have had to move Jalen Ramsey to safety. Okay, he got a sack on Tua last night on I don't know if that was his blown assignment, didn't see it coming, whatever, but literally Ramsey could have taken his head off. And this squad has had to go and do some weird stuff when it comes to alignment and then the player personnel groupings because they went and got Jonnu Smith and they have Freiermuth and then they have this 310-pound Darnell Washington who plays like an offensive tackle and catches like one too, by the way. I love watching him play football, but he catches like a tackle for sure. They have all this weird stuff going on. It's not a good team. It's an okay team. that's going to make the playoffs. They're in a bad division, as we have witnessed here in recent weeks. They're going to make the playoffs. I think they're probably going to win the division at this point. It's very likely the Ravens are going to have to pull rabbit out of hat to make this happen for themselves, but they're going to get bounced in one. It's done. Barring major injury to the other team that they face, they're going to get bounced.
I will say right now, if everything holds, right now the Steelers have a 61% chance of making the playoffs. They're 8-6. They would have the 4 seed. If everything holds here, this is the interesting wrinkle that I think is going to get a lot of Steelers heads over their skis, is they would play the Chargers in that first round. And with how unhealthy that Chargers team is right now, like I could actually see a world where the Steelers win that game at home versus the Chargers with offensive line, and
TJ Watt special
got broken bones in his hand. And I know the Steelers are dealing with the same thing, literally broken bones in the hand of their quarterback and all. So I could see them maybe like pulling out a dirty, the Chargers have been playing nothing but that 16-13 game to Kansas City. Like those are the kinds of games they've been playing. So I could see the Steelers like squeaking that one out and being like, oh yeah, see, we went in, we won a playoff game. Nobody believed in us. And then they would go into the next round and play like the Bills or the Texans or like the like basically any other team that's in the AFC playoffs right now besides the Chargers. Like you can't really talk yourself into sneaking a win out of there. Yeah, it looks like they're probably going to squeak into the playoffs. They're probably going to survive the 500 win percentage like streak and everything. But when it really comes down to it, like there's no way that I think anybody can be convinced they're going to be more than that.
No. And like I said, there's not a lot of depth. There's a lot of old guys. They look like old guys. They play like old guys. And genuinely, that's not a team that's going to make a run. They don't have the energy to make the run. They don't have the legs to make the run. They don't have the secondary to make the run. They don't have a receiver that's not named Metcalf to help them make the run. And I understand they can run that 1-3 just like your team can, but they don't run it as good as your team does. That's for dang sure. And the play calling's not there, and the quarterback play is not there to support it. Gainwell, by the way, starting running back in the NFL next year, he has more than proved himself for that team. Kenneth Gainwell looks solid, and he is not just a kick returner / third down type of guy like he was used in Philadelphia for a long time. That dude can take hits and throw out some hits, and bro, he's got breakaway speed and a one cut and go type structure to him that every NFL team craves. So love him. Don't love the rest of the squad the way it's constructed. I know we got to get some stuff. You guys need to hear it from Grant. The story that happened this week in fantasy football. Because I know Mike caught it like afterwards, but for Jameson and I that were going play to play Sunday night while Grant was in the guillotine final, our big guillotine league that we're all a part of, some stuff happened.
Yes.
Grant, walk us through your emotional roller coaster, dude.
By the way, guillotine league, it's every week's elimination week. Score least amount of points, you're out. So it was me and this other guy. I don't even know who it was. But anyway, my team was loaded. His team was loaded. Both projected like 160 points. I like Derrick Henry and James Cook and Christian McCaffrey and JSN and Amon-Ra and Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson as like my quarterback and Brock Bowers my tight end. Like I had like just an insane roster. So it came down to it. I had Brandon Aubrey as my kicker. I was playing against CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott in that game. And so essentially I needed them to score a lot of points, but a lot of field goals is what I needed. Brandon Aubrey decided to miss 2 50-plus yarders to leave 10 points on the board right there. I was up by 12 points going into this game, like not much. It was like, I was like, bro, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Like I'm going to need a miracle. Marching towards the end of the game, it's looking like the miracle might happen. Dak Prescott had 8 points. CD had, I think, 10 at that point. Brandon Aubrey had me like 12.6 because he got 6 rushing yards on the fake. It was weird. I didn't even watch the game at that point. So I'm like, how the crud does a kicker have 12.6 points right now? This makes no sense. I had to go through like the chat thing on Yahoo because many people were also asking that. And so it came down to it, the final drive, and I'm up by 3 points. Like 3 points I'm up by. If Dak, and of course, I'm so scared. Pretty much any like touchdown pass, obviously I'm cooked. Any long pass, I'm cooked because he gets a double point, CD's points plus Dak's points. The final drive, the Cowboys are down by 2 scores. Cowboys are down by 2 scores, marching it down the field. And because they're down by 2 and no timeouts, their options were to kick a field goal to then hopefully get an onside kick to then go get a touchdown. But they throw it down the field to go into field goal range, and CeeDee Lamb makes the catch, and I'm losing by 2. And I'm like, no, I just lost. The one thing I could not have happen happens. And at that point, I'm devastated. I'm upset. And I forget that they have to kick a field goal to have any chance to win. And I see Brandon Aubrey, number 17, warming up, kicking into the net. And I'm like, no way. Are they actually going to do it? I'm down by 2 points. I need 3 points to win. And sure enough, they march Brandon Aubrey down the out onto the field, and he finally makes a kick for me to win by 2 points because it was like a 40-yarder. So it ends up being a 4-point kick, and I win by 2 points. I win the championship because they had to go and try and kick a field goal here. It was the wildest fantasy game I've ever played to win a league, for it to be that way. Like, I jump up and down. I wake up my 2-month-old who was asleep. I upset my wife because she had struggled to sleep all day, but I just won a fantasy guillotine league, which I think is insanely hard to do. I'll give myself a little pat on the back there, but to win it, holy cow, on that Brandon Aubrey field goal. Of course, the Cowboys missed the onside kick, so they don't win. So those points meant nothing. What a way to lose for the guy I was going up against. Like, what? That's the biggest piece of garbage way to lose if you're on the receiving end of that. Sorry, not sorry to that guy, but I end up winning like 147 to 145 on that. It was insane.
Grant, I'm not going to say his last name, but that was Aiden.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Poor guy.
R.I.P. Aiden, but not really, because I just won.
What a way to win, but also what a way to lose.
Dude, I think
that sucks.
That's the worst way to lose. I think that's the worst way to lose.
If Dallas had decided, no, we need a touchdown anyway, if we don't get the touchdown, we lose either way.
Yeah.
So let's just go for that touchdown. You don't win that game.
No,
right?
I don't.
CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott get some more points.
Yep.
If they're going for the touchdown instead.
I would just get 1 point on the PAT if that's made, and that wouldn't have been enough.
My wife, by the way, who won her game in the C League, was in the exact same position. The other guy had CeeDee Lamb
really?
and Dak Prescott, and she had Aubrey. And she's just, I just can't have CeeDee Lamb catch a touchdown, and I got this, right? Yeah. And suddenly it didn't. She's like, what are they doing? I was like, mathematically speaking, this is not a bad. It's not a bad choice.
When you have
right?
no timeouts, you get the quick points.
You have to get an onside kick at some point anyway. So just get that part over with as soon as you can. I get it.
Yeah. I've wondered this many times, why teams don't, like in that scenario on the football like strategy side of it. There's 30 to 50 seconds left. You get the ball down to the 25 to 30. Okay. And why don't you just kick the field goal now? If you need 9 or you need 10, why don't you kick the field goal now?
Yeah.
And then you've got more time on the clock.
It's
hope that the weird thing happens.
It's a self-preservation. It's a putting off that final play to the very end, because if you miss getting the touchdown, it's over completely. No shot. Because you have to get a touchdown. You have to get a field goal. The field goal statistically is easier to get than a touchdown.
Yeah.
And so you do that to try and save yourself to then, okay, that final play needs to come at the very end. But you again still put yourself in a scenario where it's have to points.
But I get the whole, because people are going to come at me really quick if they see this and say stuff. They're going to go, you idiot, it's so much easier to get the ball to the 50-yard line and take like a 65 to 67-yard shot with a field goal. Once you're already at the 25, it's so much easier. I get that whole logic, but you're fighting the time battle.
Yeah.
That's what I don't get. Is like, you can score a touchdown in 7 seconds.
Yeah.
You can. Yeah, you can erase the whole field in less than 10.
You throw it up there for a 50-50, you get a PI, the ball's right there, and then...
Yeah, what are the odds of scoring a touchdown in the league versus kicking a 65-yarder?
Yeah,
this year you got the 65-yarder with Brian and Aubrey.
That's the Matthew.
It's almost
sure.
It's a pretty good shot.
And honestly, if I was them, I'd save another 20 seconds to just kick it when it's a 55-yarder with Aubrey.
I would also, that was a legit.
That's a high percentage kick for him, although it wasn't on Sunday.
Yeah.
Grant knows that one.
Of course, made it worse for me. But hey, I'm one. But that's the craziest win I've ever had.
That was awesome.
It was so cool.
It was genuinely a fun roller coaster.
Yeah, losing that in fantasy was like the equivalent of like when the Rams lost that game to the Eagles because of those blocked. It's like the most like incomprehensible way of losing a football game, but the fantasy version. I just could not fathom losing that way.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
Speaking of fantasy football, I don't do this because if I'm being real, this doesn't matter as much as my other thing that's way more important to me. I was facing Grant in our A-League playoffs this week. He was the 3 seed. I was actually a 6, which I've had a lot of those years where I'm not like 5 or 6 and I still am able to make it happen and get to a final or whatever. But I was taking Grant on, and I had it in my head. I was like, for some reason, I was like, I just feel like Scary Terry is a play. Like,
Dude,
I need to do it.
That's the biggest piece of bull crap, because that 50-yard touchdown is why you won. Because
It
if it
is.
happened late in the game, when that happened, I was like, I'm gonna lose.
Yeah.
Because he had 4 points at that point? And Genty also did you nothing. So one of your starting wide receivers, one of your starting running backs get you less than 10 points. I'm like, and then AJ Brown got a garbage time touchdown to give him 11 to save that for me. It's like salvage that start.
49ers played real soft defense in the second half against the Titans.
Yeah.
I ended up getting his fat 0 in our league because we don't count certain stats to benefit our point totals for defenses. So I pulled Sutton and I put in Scary Terry. That would have been an all-time I hate my life had Scary not caught one ball on Sunday. I would have been so pissed at myself forever. But that's the play I made. I got really fortunate. Mike was correct that HN needed about 20 points for Grant to beat me. And he ended up with 15.7 in our leagues. We're half PPR. And I beat Grant 125 to 120.2. So it was really close, Mike. If he would have gotten it right at 20, he still would have lost just barely. But it was very close.
Yeah, my downfall was Joe Burrow.
Yep,
Decided
100%.
Since he came back, he's been getting around 18 to 20 fantasy points. And I was like, yeah, that's the play I'm going to make over Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams got like 18. Joe Burrow got me 5.
Yeah.
So I am bummed, but winning a league in that way definitely makes a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. So
your team beats Phillip Rivers on a last-second field goal, and you get the dub in the guillotine.
But it was this close to being the worst week of football of my life. I probably wouldn't have shown up on the podcast. Yeah. Matt, can I tell you what I did have planned, though? I'll say it. What I had planned if I won.
Whatever. I'm sure what you had planned is probably better when what other people think they're going to do when they think they're going to beat me, but go for it. Yeah.
I went on Amazon and I bought those like chocolate, like it's a boy, it's a girl cigars. And I was going to have one and pretend to light a cigar. And they're sitting downstairs right now. Cause I'm like, I have to order them to get here in time if I win. And I was absolutely going to do the suit, like that whole thing. I had screenshots ready to go, just so you know, because to be honest, you gave me
and everything.
I had so much ammo, like to use on you if I beat you.
And so does everyone else, because I give them all the ammunition, and for 17 years I have told everybody the same thing. Come
and take it. That's the screenshot I have. I was gonna post the Sauron, like the hobbits defeating Sauron, and like the Eye of Sauron tower collapsing.
I wouldn't understand that, but good for you.
It's the evil lord who
Ball knowers know.
Yeah, ball knowers understand. So that's what I was gonna do. I'm fine to admit it because I still won the guillotine league. So like I can eat that loss and I'm fine with it.
In the fantasy realm, my 2 things. I have to actually talk about Carly today for 2 reasons. Number 1, my wife told me, like she remembered and knew this, that Phillip Rivers was the second NFL player to throw a touchdown as a grandfather.
I saw that comment.
Told me that to my face. Like I was like, the second? And I was like sitting there going, I thought he was and she goes, Brett Favre. And I went, oh my gosh. My wife super impressed me this week. Just needed to throw that out there. Also, she has dared me to do something, and I wanted to bring it up on the podcast. This is the perfect time to do it. Carly would like me to resign. If I win the A-League again, she would like me to resign my position in the A-League and go down to the C and win my way back.
I don't know. It's like a Hard Knocks kind of thing.
I don't know if the other 29 people competing against me are going to be able to live with themselves when I make the run and come back and murder all of you. So I'm really debating on it.
But what happens if for some reason next season you're in the C League and you get all of the injuries and you win 3 games?
I'll still be up. Dude, it's top 4. There's no way.
Okay. I'm just saying
Bro,
the what
it's
if is
like
there.
all the evidence forever. I'm just
Matt's
sitting
trying to
here for
smurf in
years
fantasy. That's
saying
crazy.
the
Yeah,
same
dude.
thing.
Yeah, dude, just your Smurf account, dude. What the heck?
It's not arrogance when I literally do it every freaking year.
I see.
It's
if you want,
just what
I think
do.
you should do it. I think that would be sick.
I'm considering it right now.
You're like
I've also thought
prestige.
about
Let's
giving
hire
myself
a-
a second account and,
Listen.
and letting
Matt,
myself run through it.
Matt, I've done it. I was down in the C League. I fell all the way down. Came right back in.
I don't know what you're talking
B-League?
about. I've never done that.
Now I'm in the A League, number 1 so far this season.
Matt, yeah, the
Like-
difference that Matt's trying to say, Mike, is that he's doing it by choice, not because
I'm doing it by choice. You guys did it because you got beat. I've never been beat. I've literally
When half
never
your
missed
team
the
goes on
playoffs
to
in 17
IR,
years.
like that you drafted, it's really hard not to get kicked out of the
I
A-League.
know. I've done it. I literally have done it. I lost a quarterback, 2 wide receivers, and my running back. I lost my first 4 picks 3 years ago, and I took second in the A-League. I understand.
Here's
It's
what we're
just
gonna do.
super fun for me.
everyone needs to subscribe and pay us money, and we're gonna hire a documentary crew, and then we're gonna do it. It's gonna be like a 3. It'll be like a 3-year journey. We'll pay a documentary crew.
I'm
to do this.
honestly, I'm a little more tempted to do a second account and try and run it through.
That's the coward's way out.
What? First of all,
Coward.
which one of you bums is
Howard.
going to stay in the A-League long enough to be the commissioner? Because you all get kicked out every other year.
Hold on.
I'm speaking to the whole, Grant.
You haven't been here. to
you
get
have
kicked out
been up
before.
and
Yeah,
down
I
to
haven't.
be-
Exactly, I haven't. And I'm staying next year.
Yep.
Eat my shorts.
Anyway, congratulations. But genuinely, like, I'm thinking it through. I'll make a decision on it eventually. It's not that I'm not up
the second
for.
account is the best way of going about it. So you don't have to, unless you can shadow GM while like you're gone.
Oh, I have genuinely helped somebody that had no idea what they were doing, and even I couldn't get him past like 6th place in the C League. He was very horrible at managing his team.
I have to say something, Grant, and you're going to appreciate this, Matt as well, everybody. But my 7-year-old joined our family league this year, and we do an in-person draft. There's 10 of us.
Nice.
It's a fun time. I do smash burgers. It's great. Everybody should do it. There's nothing else like having a home draft like that. It's fantastic. It's great. And anyway, so he drafted his team, and it's his first year. And so when it came up to his turn on the draft, I'd be all like, "Hey, this is what you need." I'd lift off the position he needs, and I'd list off a couple players for each position, and then he'd choose. Right, all the help he got. He's number 1 in our league because he drafted Sam Darnold, he drafted Brock Purdy, he drafted JSN, he drafted Puka Nacua, he drafted Ray Rice, which at the end of the season here was fantastic.
Rasheed Rice, yeah.
Rasheed Rice. He drafted Cooks with the Bills, and he's just roasting everybody. He's got Seattle's defense. Seattle's his favorite team, so he got a bunch of Seattle players.
Yep.
He's got Charbonnet and Walker on his team that he drafted. He roasts everybody. And I'm just like, this is everybody that plays in the league, like we all just got beat.
It's always that thing where it's like, bro, you just got here. Shut up.
I think Cooks is going to be on probably the most championship teams.
Probably.
Yeah,
dude,
I think Cooks is going to be that for positional
because that's
drafting,
probably the 5, 6, 7 range.
Yeah.
That was
picks.
Brilliant.
Because that's the best
where
way
he
to
got taken. Yeah, because we all hate drafting guys.
the value pick.
They get paid.
He was the value pick.
Yeah. Fantastic. So many good teams out there with him because you could wait a little bit to go get your second running back. So you were loaded. You had your first one. You had 2 receivers, or you got positional value with Josh Allen, or you went and got Bowers, or whatever you did at your tight end position. But dear Lord,
because then
Cook's been amazing.
You do Cooks because then the second tier of guys have been the number ones because usually the DeMar Chase and the Justin Jeffersons would be gone. But the best guys have been the JSN and the Pukas, and if you draft in the 5, 6, 7 range, that's where those guys sit as like they were in that second wave of. So then of guys. So but you get James Cook and a Puka or a JSN for wide receiver. Like you're going to the championship most of your leagues.
Which, by the way, how wild is it going to be when Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, like guys that we have been drafting in the first round forever are not in the first round at all next year?
I think
Jason and Puka are going to be
1 and 2. Like players, not even just for wide receivers, probably.
Yeah,
Well,
JT's going to be high.
I also want to point out at the end of our A-League draft, I picked up Omarion Hampton and Trayvon Henderson.
Yep.
And I just did that as flyers for rookies. And that's paid
Paying
off
off now.
at the end of the year. People need to, when you're looking at this fantasy stuff, like those end of the season flyers win you leagues.
Yep.
Or at least put you in competition. So you got to really keep an eye on those things when you're going through.
I'm going to run through a couple things really quick because we need to speed up just a little bit to get and probably do. We're going to, I think we're going to go ahead and do pick them on rapid fire today. Just be prepared for that. But really quick, I want to go through the playoff scenarios that can happen this week just so you guys are aware of it. Clinched so far. The Rams have clinched a spot. The Broncos have clinched a spot. They can clinch the number 1 on the AFC side with a win, and the Chargers, Patriots, and Bills all losing or tying. So those two are the only ones that have officially clinched, but that's just the scenarios for them. Rams cannot improve status this week. There's too many in the NFC, a little too close still because the Niners and the Seahawks nipping at their heels, even in just the division. So they can't claim the one. Lot going to happen in the next 3 weeks.
The NFC West is so hard.
So
the NFC, by the way,
11-3 team, and I can't even relax.
The Niners, by the time they get to Monday night, will have already slid ahead of one of those two teams this week. I am super excited for that.
But you want the Hawks because if the Hawks win,
It does.
and then the Niners win out, they get the number 1 seed.
It's divisional.
I'm going to be honest
yeah,
with you. I'm just going to be super real. I still want the Seahawks to lose.
That's fair.
I cannot go to bed at night saying I really want the Seahawks to win this game. That just can't happen. If it was a playoff spot in general, like if it was you win and we get in,
yeah, you probably.
I'd probably be fine with it.
Yeah,
I could live barely.
Or playing
with
the Cowboys because that's number 1 hate.
Oh yeah, if you're playing the Cowboys, 100% go Hawks all day.
I'm gonna clip just the Go Hawks.
I know you're gonna do that. It's fine.
So
I got a lot of Go Niners I could go at you with too, so it's fine.
Oh,
it's really important to realize when we go through the playoff scenarios, it's and or are very important definitions to make here.
Yes, I'm going to specifically highlight that here.
Yeah.
Yep. Buffalo can clinch this week with a win or a tie, and they need the Texans or Colts to lose or tie. Need one of those. Buffalo is definitely going to be cheering for the 49ers on Monday night.
Everyone is.
Patriots, everybody in the AFC is.
They want to see a Phillip Rivers win. Let's be honest. Yeah.
After the loss last week, they actually controlled their destiny. And then after the loss last week, they now need a win or tie, or they need the Texans or Colts to lose or tie. So they have an easier in than Buffalo does right now. Jaguars need a win and the Colts or Texans, either one, to lose or tie. The Chargers need to win and have the Colts or Texans lose or tie. So
if you're looking at this real quick listening, it all has to do with Texans or Colts for the AFC.
Yeah, and it's probably the Colts losing in reality.
Yes, but yes, it all involves the Texans or Colts.
All of these teams are 49ers fans this week.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. That Monday night game is going to be the Colts.
I'm a Colts fan this week, baby.
Yeah,
yes,
by
sir.
the way, the Texans losing
Uncle
is
Phil's
not
going to get it
happening.
done.
The Texans are hosting the Raiders, for the record.
Yeah.
So that's not happening.
God.
Colts have a much better chance. In the NFC, the Eagles need a win or a Dallas loss because that would secure the NFC East, and they are in. The Bears need a win and a Lions loss or tie. The Packers also need a win and a Lions loss or tie. The 49ers need to win or have the Lions lose. Either one of those scenarios, and they're in. Seattle needs to win, needs to beat the Rams, or they need the Lions to win or tie. Grant, we are rooting for opposite things 100% this week. Hilarious. But those are all your scenarios. So if your favorite team was mentioned there, rewind it if you need to hear that a second time. But we have a total of 9 teams that can clinch this week between the NFC and AFC, and 2 that already have. So of the coveted 14 spots, up to, I believe with all the scenarios going the right way, we could see 10 get clinched this week. But that would involve
leave only two spots remaining.
Yep.
One of those being the NFC South one.
No, that would leave 4. Remember, it's 7 playoffs.
No, but plus the Rams and Broncos already clinching.
Oh, yeah, no, I meant 10 total.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
10 total. Yeah, 10 could get claimed total.
Yeah.
Looking ahead to this week in terms of pick'em, well, and recapping last, Jameson was the only one that finished sub 500 this last week. So we had a pretty decent group run. It has been feast or famine for pretty much all of us week to week. Mike and Grant both pulled off a 4-1. Grant, for some stupid reason, took the Dolphins on Monday Night Football. Mike picked the Chiefs, and up until Patrick Mahomes' ACL, at least there was a chance they were going to win that game.
The ACLs for 2 of my losses, to be fair.
That is very fair. That's very fair. I'm there with you. I took the Packers and I took the Pats. I had a 21-point lead in that game. I felt real good when I saw that score, by the way. I was like, oh, heck yeah, I got 2 already. Yeah, I was ticked. But, Jameson, for some reason, joined Grant. I don't know. You guys did the pick him after I left, and
it was the speed of the Dolphins is what I was saying. Is like they get to the edge,
won a bunch in
gone.
A row. It wasn't going to be too cold.
Listen.
But as Mike noted earlier, or I think wrote in the doc, and you may have said earlier, as soon as it's below 40, I was like, surely like 40 degrees isn't that bad. Right?
Lights out.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin's never lost on Monday Night Football. The Steelers moved to number 1, by the way, all time on Monday Night Football. They had been tied with the 49ers going into that game for the best win percentage and most
Have you
wins.
seen that they haven't lost a home Monday night game since '92?
Yes, it's been, and they have not lost a Monday Night Football game. I think it's in 24 years. Is that what I saw?
Wow, that's a pretty.
I'm going to correct you. The Seahawks actually have the best record on Monday Night Football at 32-13. Steelers.
Oh, they have the best win percentage.
Win percentage, yes.
Yes. So Niners,
but sheer volume because the older teams,
Steelers also with the win.
Old teams.
Yeah, by volume.
I just want to say with the Steelers, one more win, and they set the record for most seasons with in a row with a winning record.
Ooh, cool.
Hang that banner.
First, hang that banner.
That'll be 22 years with a winning record.
Wow.
It's impressive if you...
That's impressive.
It's impressive if you care about winning just enough games to not get your coach fired.
Playoffs. Yeah, you get to the playoffs.
And picking the 20th pick every year. All right, let's blaze through this.
Let's blaze through it. Let's hit it fast.
We're
doing that first one needs to be last.
Okay. So we're gonna go the top up. We got Pats at the Ravens. I am gonna pick.
You're gonna pick what you're gonna pick.
The home team. I think I'm gonna pick the Ravens.
Oh my gosh, you did it just to piss me off.
I'm
taking the Patriots because I have a brain in my head.
The Ravens need this game.
Doesn't matter. Next. He did it to piss me off, everybody. It's the only reason he did it.
All right, Jameson.
I didn't want this game in the pick'em. That's why he did that.
No.
I do think the Patriots are going to win this game. It's too close now for me to do the zag. I really want to pick the Ravens, but I got to stay here with the Patriots. At least
told you.
Lock and step with Matt.
Freaking told you, Mike.
Right. Two reasons here. Okay. Half of my fantasy team is literally Patriots. And I need to win this week, so I want the Patriots to do really well.
Ravens.
And the other reason is I'm so far away in pick'em this week. I need to match you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and Patriots and just play this out for Matt.
Wow, humble playing strategy with pick'em, you dirtbag. I mean, I do the same thing. But
the opposite I'm up by 6 picks.
I told you we were all gonna pick the Pats. You bum.
Okay, next one, Mike. We're doing the snake.
25% of the hosts picked a different team.
You piss me off.
Give me the Jags. I'm taking the Jags.
It's Jags at Broncos. I didn't say.
Yeah, Jags at Broncos. I think the Broncos. I think they drop a game, and the Jags have been playing really good ball. I think I'm going to go Jags.
Yeah.
Although it's in Denver, that's a hard game. But
yeah, I'm also going to take the Jags. Slept on that we didn't say earlier. Huge game from Trevor Lawrence this week. He had 6 touchdowns.
Oh, dude. Yep.
Actually, don't really have time for it, but a stat of the week, he was like the only player in NFL history to like run or pass for over 300, rush for over 50, throw for 5, and rush for 1 tud. So big game from him. And yeah, I'm going to pick the Jags here. The Jags are actually playing with their head on fire.
Shout out to my friend Brian, who picked up Trevor Lawrence off the waivers this week and started him and won his fantasy first round matchup. That was gutsy.
Did you also know that Liam Cohen is now, I think, either in or 1 win away from being 5th all time in franchise wins as a head coach, and he's been their coach for 3 months.
Are you
for real?
That's insane. No way.
I'm not joking. Yeah,
that's a clip right there. Holy cow!
Wow.
The Jaguars suck.
Find the number while you guys go.
Jaguars suck.
Wow, dude. That stat needs
for a
to
long
live on
time
the internet. Wow. Bro, I'm joining you guys because I think the opportunistic defense is going to come here, and I think there's some complacency coming into play for the Broncos. That's all. I'm going to go Jags.
Yep, I will stick with that too.
I didn't see that sweep coming. Jeez.
Nope.
Yeah, I almost picked the
Keep us
Broncos
going.
just because they're at Mile High. Man.
Okay, now we've got Bucks at Panthers. I'm going to pick the Panthers, baby, because they at least can play good defense and be opportunistic. The Bucks just cannot do anything right now, and the Panthers, I think, know that and are going to play into the Bucks wheels coming off the wagon here. And this is 100% to me a gut thing. Picking the Panthers. I want to see the Panthers in the playoffs. I think that would be like super cool for this fan base. I think the Panthers are cool. Whatever. I'm indifferent to them, so I'm picking Panthers.
I'm also going to pick the Panthers. Bull sucks. And I just feel like if they were going to do a get right game, they would have done it. He is not there.
Quick asterisk, because I did find the Jags win, so I'll just say that real quick here. He is actually technically only 6th, but he's 4 wins behind 5th place, who's Gus Bradley. But Gus Bradley coached 62 games, and Liam Cohen has only coached 14. So in 48 fewer games or whatever, he's only 4 wins away from being 5th all time in the Jaguars head coaching wins. And again, I cannot stress this enough, has been their head coach for 3 months. That being said, Todd Bowles does suck, but I am actually going to pick the Bucks here. I think this is just a little revenge game. I don't think they still end up probably winning more than 8 games this season, but this might be like their last win this season potentially. So I'm going to take them winning this one here.
I think, if nothing else, I think Mike Evans wills this game for the Bucks. He was so angry. I'm taking the Bucks on this one. I don't see this Bucks team not stepping up for that guy, especially after how public it was.
Mike Evans is going to have 6 for 160 or something this game.
Yeah, he's gonna light it up. He's gonna will this team to, and they have to win this game, right? They know they have to win this game. Yeah. Panthers have to win this game, so this is a good pick 'em. But I'm taking the Bucks.
Okay, Mike, sticking with you here. We got Packers at Bears.
I want the Packers to win. I would have picked the Packers if Micah Parsons was here to do that fourth quarter sack to end the game like he did just earlier this year. But I got the Bears. They are just, I don't like the Bears. I don't trust the Bears in the playoffs. But I think the Packers are going to be reeling, and I think they're going to struggle.
Okay. Jameson.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Bears, one of the better offensive rushing teams from a success rate, and the Packers defense, especially with Micah Parsons out, more middle of the pack, if not below average, in defending the run. And I just think you lose the wind in the sails. So I'm going to pick the Bears here, as much as I don't love it.
I'm going to zag. I'm going to take the Packers purely out of spite.
To who?
To a whole fan base that hates my guts still.
Yeah.
I think the Packers got enough. And if Watson's playing in particular, I'm leaning hard that way. I reserve the right to change that based on the injury report at the end of the week, because as we say often, we are leaning this direction, but I will change it.
I would agree that if Watson plays, this is because the Bears are ranked like 28th, and they just happen to be the number 1 turnover team in the league.
Yeah,
so
if 30 takeaways for that defense
and take the ball away, maybe
people move the ball on the Bears, they just don't. They just get the ball taken away at the end. So that's the way it works. But yeah, I understand what you're saying there. I don't disagree. Good.
I think I will take the Packers as well. I think mainly just to try and split this up and try to, that we're not always picking the same stuff. I think the Packers can get it done, despite the Micah Parsons thing, because they got it done with a game-stealing interception a couple weeks ago against the team. That had nothing to do with Micah Parsons was pressuring Caleb.
He was pressuring. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's true. But I think the Packers can get it done. Okay, last game. First game of the week. Biggest game.
You want Matt and I to go first, and you guys can hash it out?
Biggest game of the season across the NFL.
Go for it.
Potentially across the NFL. Biggest game of the season.
Maybe.
At this point.
We'll see.
All right, when do you guys go?
Rams at Seahawks. Grant will be at this game losing his voice. I unfortunately could not join him.
Jameson cannot either.
Child's school play that I super want to go to. She has one line and she doesn't care. I'm just saying, I'm a good dad. Pat myself on the back.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest with you, this is as 50-50 as they come. Devonta not being in this game, I don't think he's playing. I don't care what the Rams pressers want to put out. He's not playing. Hamstring's a hamstring. You're not messing with it when you're this close to the 1 seed and your playoffs are right around the corner. That's just stupid management of a person. So he's not playing. But we said all we said about Darnold, and so I'm not going to get deep into all that. But I'm just, gosh, I'm going to take the Rams and not feel good about it. I really am. It will not surprise me if the Seahawks win this game. I'm not doing my bias here. I'm going to take the Rams because overall, I like where they're at as opposed to the Seahawks, who shouldn't feel good, as was pointed out by Mike earlier, I think, or Jameson, sorry. The 6 field goals is not that there's no touchdowns there. And against the defense missing 4 of its best players, that shouldn't have happened. Just like where the Rams are at as a whole, and I'll take the better coach.
Yeah, I'm going to go say I want the Seahawks to win so that the Niners have a chance at the number 1 seed. It's the only way it happens. But I think I got to go with the Rams. I think it's going to be nasty. I think it's going to be raining. And I think that Kyren Williams, Blake Corum combo running the ball at that Seahawks is a better run game than your Walker Charbonnet right now. I believe
yeah.
And so that's where I'm leaning. I'm going to go. I hate it because I want the Seahawks to win. I'm going Rams. Yeah. Rams.
All right. I'll go next to break it up because I imagine I know where James is going to go. But here's what I'm going to say, dude. Here's what I'm going to say. We said at the beginning of the year, we all agreed that the most likely scenario is that these teams split games against each other. Our 3 teams split games. And that would mean the Seahawks win. They won despite getting a touchdown. It's going to be wet. It's going to be ugly. And the Seahawks are used to that. They know how to win those games. And also, I know that the running game is better in terms of Charbonnet and Walker to Corum and Kyren Williams. The Seahawks have not had a 100-yard rusher in 22 games. That is the record right now. A 100-yard rusher, they have not given that up. That defense is insane. I think the Lions gave the Seahawks a lot of good tape this week on that secondary. If you can get it to the edge, those corners can be exposed if you can get to the edge for the Rams. And I think that secondary is weaker than Seattle's. Nick Emanwari, by the way, is like front runner for defensive rookie of the year, in my opinion. The dude's balling out. He's awesome. So I'm going to take my boys. I got to take my boys. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be drenched from head to toe because that's going to dump according to the forecast. So, yeah, I got to take my boys. Got to ride or die.
That is what convincing yourself sounds like, everybody.
Oh, get out of here. You literally just said you wouldn't be surprised if they won. They absolutely.
I think you'd have a better argument if it wasn't going to be like monsoon conditions.
Yeah, because
you just said the key thing. The better running game is coming.
Better running players,
south.
but they're not. They're not going to.
The Rams had 200-yard rushers in this or same game, like just 2 weeks ago.
The Rams.
The worst offensive performance the Rams have had all season was against the Seahawks, and by the way, barely won. But they barely won.
And they won't have their worst offensive performance.
And they barely won. Matt Stafford could move the ball.
How you spell win starts with a W. And Grant.
Fine. That's fine. You're telling me that it is out of the realm of possibility for the Seahawks to win this game at home in ugly conditions.
I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. Obviously, it's within the realm of possibility.
2 of the best teams in the NFL.
They really are.
Is my mic muted? Can I speak?
No.
Come on. The Rams are going to win this game, and here's one of the reasons why. They've already beat me to it. It's going to be a nasty game. Seattle is only, let's see here. I have some fun numbers that I was actually very surprised with. The only 2 teams worse in rushing EPA per play than the Seahawks are the Saints and the Raiders, and the Raiders are like historically bad running the ball right now. The Rams are 7th in the league. The Rams are 3rd in the league in pass EPA per play. Seahawks are up there in passing as well, and yeah, they have a great rushing defense. They're number 1 in EPA per rush defense, but just the vast difference in the Rams having also a top 5 rushing defense versus your bottom 3 rushing offense, and the 13 personnel in this rainy game. Puka Nacua just being a dog in every play in that offense. I just think they got it. I just think they do. There's certainly a world where we can lose this game. Obviously, I'm not excited that this is a Thursday night football game.
I hate
that is the least favorite thing. We've played the 49ers and now the Seahawks in Thursday night games that both mean something. But at the end of the day, I think the Rams just got more going. So we're going Rams. Totally can see a Seahawks win here, but that's not what I'm picking. I'm picking the team that's going to win.
It's
Okay.
going to be a great week. I'm excited to see who makes the playoffs because we got so many options as we read through earlier. So many good games. We could have put more on Pick'em this week, honestly, just with the matchups that we've got. It's a great weekend again of football, which we all love and we all celebrate. On top of all that, by the way, college football playoffs start this weekend.
Yes.
So we've got that hitting us. It's almost Christmas. Man, it's going to be wild. We got one episode left before Christmas. We'll be back here to recap the first round of that college football playoff a little bit. I'm sure there's going to be crazy drama this weekend with that. We're going to see who makes the playoffs or clinches their spots this weekend. And then we're going to definitely have one of the two people on this call that'll be rooting on opposite sides for this Thursday night football game. I feel real good about where their team's at early next week, and we will see who it is. Man, football giveth. It just giveth. It does not take from us. It just gives. And so we love when we get to the part of the season and celebrate all that's going on. Hope that your fantasy goes well, unless you're playing against me. Shout out to my buddy Sean, who's probably going to take an L from me in the A-League, because that's what I do. And I hope that the rest of you guys have a great time with yours. We will see you on the flip side of week 16. Holy cow, it's almost there. We got 2 months of football left, guys. 2 months, we will have our Super Bowl champion. So enjoy the next 58 days from when we're recording this of the football season, and we will see you next week. This is Sportsify.